Path of Night is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the classic world of darkness. We're all friends, we're here to have fun, but our story can include graphic violence, drug use, sexual content, and other mature themes. We talked at our table about safety, comfort, and consent, both as players and storytellers. We know what to expect. We're all excited to be here, and we want you to feel the same. So listener discretion is advised. Now, let's walk the path of night.
Last time on Path of Night. The coterie evades the killing spree. Ramirez finds Wynn reflecting upon her past at the Hell House, and the two support one another while Neil looks on from the astral realm. As Johnny and Miles plot against Upton Rollins, Roman Pendragon summons Britta against her will. Britta convinces Pendragon to grant the coterie a second chance. The remaining four regroup and talk through their options. Ultimately, they choose to proceed with Praxis.
When we pick up with you starting the evening, what are you doing?
Given the events of last night, Wynn feels like she needs to get something from her haven. So, at a point when Miles is on a phone call and Johnny's chain smoking and Neil's God knows where, she slips out of Britta's coffee shop, bar, art studio thing, and heads back to her haven.
When you head back to your haven, there's a few things that you actually notice right away. When you get there, it actually looks like this section's been warded off. There's tape kind of like around the area. There's a sign saying like, do not enter. And as you kind of go towards that section of like the woods, that like the path is like blocked off by the city. You see kind of equipment set around your haven. It looks like there's been all kinds of like scans and samples being collected. And then you notice why. And the section of trees going around your the little shack in the woods that you use as your haven, there are these orange and gray fatty mushrooms that have grown all across the ground, up the sides of trees. It looks like this whole little section right around where the weaving bear was has been completely overrun by this fungus.
Wynn disregards the tape. It's her stuff. Nobody's going to keep her from her stuff. But she kind of takes a moment and stares at the mushrooms. And whether from the events of past nights or just a thought that she's now coming to terms with, she kind of starts pondering the nature of mushrooms in general and what they represent. The mushrooms are probably one of the few things she can't kill in any way that matters. Mushrooms are part of the entropy that is extant in life. And trying to do something about that is not dissimilar to trying to do something about kindred. She kind of comes to terms with the fact this might not be her fight. She wants it to be, because that makes it less scary. But at this point, she doesn't feel a whole lot of fear. And for the moment, she's task-driven. And she just sort of makes her way towards her haven. And when she gets there, she, assuming that either her hut hasn't been found or it's been ignored as some kind of indigent living in the woods and disregarded, which not inaccurate, she throws her army cot to the side and she starts digging into the dirt underneath it. And she does this with her bare hands, not caring how much dirt is getting under her nails, how dirty her hands are getting. And eventually she pulls out sort of like a bank safe deposit box, this metal box that is meant to withstand the ages. And she knows she shouldn't open it now because there's a time and a place, and surrounded by death that she can do nothing to control. Probably isn't the right time, but something in her just needs to know that it's all still there. And so she opens the lid and she starts sifting through seemingly very unimportant things. There's a roll of boxing tape that one would use to wrap one's hands. There is an old black and white photo of a girl with long dark hair wearing boxing gloves that are way too big, and a man behind her clearly lovingly coaching her how to throw a punch. And then beyond that, there is a single yellow, badly knitted baby booty made by someone who clearly wanted to know what they were doing and just could not make their fingers do what was in their head. And she kind of lovingly holds each of these things and just sits contemplating.
We're not supposed to go anywhere alone.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Neil appears out of nowhere in the middle of Wynn's Haven, looking not directly at her, but at the things in the box in her hand. And without sort of addressing the fact that he apparently accidentally caused her some distress by just appearing out of nowhere, nods his head towards the photograph. That's your dad.
Yeah. He owned a boxing gym. He let me bring water to the guys there. And then when I started getting old enough that the guys were looking at me differently, he started teaching me how to fight.
I saw.
She kind of gives him a look with a raised eyebrow.
Yesterday. When you were alone in the woods up by Hell House. Well, not alone. Ramirez was there. We're not supposed to go anywhere alone, but you keep walking off. Or flying off, as the case may be. So I wanted to,
She gives him a chance to explain himself. She gives him enough rope to hang himself if need be.
He hangs himself. Very quickly. You flew off and I followed. I trusted that Britta had my body, and so I just followed, and you looked not okay, and you flew back out to that place, and I saw what you were thinking about, and I was worried, so you couldn't see me. I wasn't there, but I was there.
I know. I heard you.
I'm
not
glad.
The whole time, but...
Well, I just watched. You seemed pretty deep into it, but I didn't want you to be alone.
I don't... She kind of looks at the box of stuff again and touches it all. I don't like feeling like this. I don't like not feeling. I don't like the absence. I've been here before. It fucking sucks.
This is all new to me. I feel like I should feel something here. I feel like I should feel sick, but I don't. I don't feel sick at all. This is...
It can get better.
Can it?
Yeah. I've pulled myself out of this before.
I know it's only by 2 weeks, but I'm the oldest one of us here, and I was always so in touch with my feelings and with humanity, and now, since the Setites and since yesterday, I just don't feel... I feel like I should care, and I don't win.
You've never needed to be a monster, Neil.
Oh, I mean, aren't we all? Isn't that kind of what this is?
There are the monsters who live under the bed, and there's the monsters who live in the woods, man. They're not the same.
I don't know how... I don't know how to take that. I don't live in the woods, but I have definitely hidden under beds.
You've been a monster to survive. You haven't been a monster to make surviving bearable.
I mean, I don't know. How'd you get better? How'd you start to feel it again?
I look back at this picture of me with dark hair and remember that there was once a little girl who loved her dad more than anybody in the world and just wanted to make him proud. I remember wrapping my hands with this tape and sticking them into gloves that were too big and taking on men twice my size because I knew if I didn't, it sent a message. And I look at this, and she holds up the booty like she can't really even speak about it. And I look at this, and I remember the thing that drove me to embrace being a monster and the thing that kept me from going all the way.
How would one go about... And he stops himself for a little bit and looks down at the booty in her hand. And it's like, for some reason, it's taking him a second longer than it usually does to, like, connect those kind of emotions. And he looks up at her and goes, I'm so sorry, Wynn. I saw a lot, but...
I didn't
without
want
the
to
context,
think about that. But I have to. I have to think of Claire, otherwise I lose myself.
I don't know a lot about the situation, but
Do you want to?
I think the answer here is, do you need to talk about it?
All the psych books that are on my shelves tell me that I should.
I don't know how much stock I put into that kind of stuff. I failed out of college, so
Technically, I did too.
Well, if you want to talk about it, I'm here. If you want to show me...
I never want to.
Do you want me to go get it? Would that help?
If I don't have to say it, maybe.
I feel like I should ask your permission this time, rather than just looking.
She kind of gives this shrug like, Jesus, you've been in there already, just go. But she acknowledges that what he needs is to hear it, and so she says, yeah, go get it.
All right, we'll go ahead and think about it, and I'll take it. And Neil looks at Wynn, and he just holds eye contact this time.
She crosses her eyes once, like she still can't be serious about anything. Or like she really can't be serious about this. But eventually her eyes settle on his.
He just opens his senses and looks at what Wynn is thinking about.
There's a very young Wynn with all the hair on her head, nothing shaved. Her eyes are green, but not the seagull green, like normal human green. She thinks of herself looking in a mirror and putting on a pair of overalls, because overalls are really forgiving. And then she kind of takes a breath and heads out to what looks out of a tent, and it's Woodstock. And there's a bar tent without really a name on it. There's some faded sign, but she just starts hauling bottles and kegs. And at one point, at the end of the night, after a day of hauling bottles, she hears this voice in the woods. It's a man, he's good looking. And he kind of comes over like he's got something to share with her. She heads over, and they talk for a few minutes, and then she says, well, I better go, knowing that she probably shouldn't risk not getting sleep. All she remembers is this terrifying feeling of being grabbed from behind. And then there's just noticeable gaps in the memory. And then when she starts to remember again, she is covered in blood. She has these things on her hands. They don't look like her hands anymore, but just these weapons on her hands. And she is in agony. There is no pain like this. This is monstrous. This is not natural. So she curls up in the woods, not even able to scream for the pain. Eventually, these monstrous hands just catch this impossibly tiny baby. And through Wynn's memory, you can see that it sort of blinks at her, and there's a sort of flash of light, and then it goes still. And you see the corner of Wynn's braid turn white, and she starts clawing at her head. She just screams. And it was as though the last human part of her is lying in her hands. And all that's left is a monster.
Back in the Haven, outside New Haven, sitting across from her, Neil looks up and just...
At this point, Wynn is bent over, head in hands, like she wants to pull the hair from the sides of her head, but there's nothing there anymore.
He's just watching her and hesitates for a second, and then sort of kneels down as she's bent over and just puts his arms around her shoulders, gives her a hug, just holds her in the same way that she's done to him whenever he's had like panic attacks or just complete breakdowns, and just doesn't try to say anything, just holds her there for a little bit.
I fucking failed. I was a inhuman killing machine, and I couldn't protect the one thing that needed protecting. And I can now. And I have to remember why, and that's why Claire is so important to remember, Neil. And I want you to see her. And I want you to think. I want you to find the Claire.
He's quiet for a minute. Hasn't really let go yet. There's this idea that the more an idea spreads, the more it lives, the more understanding it is. So when I know...
No, you don't.
I can't not know. I can't not see. I know that she existed now. And that's 2 people. And that's more than it was yesterday. And I can't know, you're right. And honestly, if this is what brings you back, if this is the pain that you need to bring you back, I'm scared, Wynn, because I don't know if I have that. I don't have...
Do you know what Claire means?
The meaning of the name?
Yeah.
No.
It means light. She's my light in darkness, and now she's yours.
Okay. I'll try.
She kind of pats his hands as they're wrapped around her, kind of that heavy, comforting feel. And she puts the booty in his hand and wraps his fingers around it. Just hold on to her, okay? If you need to hold it for a long time, that's okay. I've got her.
When I'm a keeper of things.
I know where you live.
I don't... I think you need to keep this because I'm not going to stick around for a little bit. Before
she still kind of holds his hand shut.
He hasn't moved to, resist that at all. Not physically, anyways. Before I get to that, though, we should probably talk about Ramirez, if you're up for it. Neil seems really weird. He's fully aware of the emotions, and he is connecting to them because he cares about Wynn, a lot. But usually where he's just empathetic to the point where he's like a raw nerve, where he's feeling what other people are feeling. Right now, he's got this body language and attitude like he's an observer. Like having never been here before, he doesn't know how to connect in that same way. And you can sort of see him trying, but he doesn't have it ever since yesterday. And he's trying, and it worries him, but he's got that same look on his face like when there's a puzzle that he has to solve and he just can't quite get it yet. He means the motions, he means the hug, he means the words, but there's just some sort of disconnect from the way Neil usually is. He looks at her and nods again, nods to himself, and goes, "Yeah, are you okay to talk about Ramirez? Do you need a minute?"
Wynn kind of shifts, but definitely leans into him like she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna move, but don't you dare. Don't you dare move from this." And she wipes her face. It's all bloody and pink at this point as she wipes it away. And she kind of looks at him. There's apology there, whether he can sense that or not. She just says, "We were going to tell you. I wasn't anticipating he was going to be out there in the woods, but..."
Why was he at Hell House, Wynn?
Because Joey's mom thinks it killed her son.
She's not wrong.
They're going to try and go after it.
And you knew?
Yeah.
You said you and Britta knew?
We did, and we weren't going to keep it from you. But we were about to go after the abbot, and we didn't want all those thoughts floating around. We were going to tell you right after. So technically I'm true to my own word, but... But technically correct is not the best kind of correct in this case.
Who were you keeping it from? Johnny?
Yeah.
Because his daughter's going to go to Hell House.
Yeah.
And she'll die there.
She kind of gets this look on her face and gives this shrug like she's not even sure what words to say. And after a minute, she's just like, we couldn't do anything. And they can stop us. Maybe there is something they can do that we can't. I don't know. I suspect people are going to die at Hell House. And I told Ramirez if they get in over their skis, call me and I'll be there as fast as the owl flies.
Yeah, I heard that part.
But I also can't stop them. I'm not like Miles where I can just redecide their priorities for them.
You were concerned that Johnny would go after them.
I was concerned that Johnny was going to go and have to kill his daughter.
You made the decision for him.
Yeah. For the moment. Like I said, we were never going to keep it from you guys.
Neil's quiet for a long while.
Neil, you fucking know that you have to handle each of us differently.
I feel like what I should be feeling is upset. Like Johnny should know.
He should. I'm going to tell him when we're done here.
Okay, good. Because I gotta be honest, it's not what I'm feeling right now.
What are you feeling right now?
I spent the last few hours taking stock of me. And I look back and I keep not making decisions and I keep looking to others. For God's sake, when it was time to call the strike on the abbot, I looked to see what Britta thought. She's so young and I can't. If I had just decided something once, maybe we wouldn't be here right now. So what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and I know I feel like I shouldn't feel this, but what I'm feeling is like maybe you made the right decision, because just like Miles said, sometimes you have to make decisions for the mission. And I don't like that that's what I'm feeling, but it's the honest truth, and I'm never gonna not be honest with you.
I don't want you to not be honest with me.
I've done what I can for now to help Miles with the praxis, and there's so much that's coming down the pike. Pike? I can never remember.
I always thought it was pipe.
Me too.
Like sewage coming down
I
a
thought
pipe.
it might have been pike, like turnpike. The point being, when Britta's alone right now,
I hate it.
she was taken
I hate that too.
right out of our city. I still feel like me enough to remember the feeling of what it is to be taken and alone in a situation where you do not have the power to protect yourself. And I would have done anything at the time not to feel alone like that, to know that people were looking for me. Miles is busy with the praxis, Johnny too, and you need to be here to protect them. Somebody has to find Britta. It's our coterie mate. We picked her. She picked us. She fought for us. She was willing, just like you were, to take a life boon from me. So, I gotta find her.
Are you looking at me to argue with you?
I'm asking you not to, but I don't want to just disappear on everyone. So if you kept the Ramirez thing for a little bit, maybe until the praxis is over, cover for me. Because I don't think Miles trusts that I can really do this. He told me that I could so long as I couldn't get caught. And I have the best chance of that. But there's no guarantees in the world, so... But if it is Pendragon that took her, Miles seems to think it is. And that tracks with me.
Someone took her. I don't care who.
I can't get it out of my head that Pendragon is a domineering, violent prince. And he has Britta.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I gotta tell you why I feel like that's a different scenario than if I got taken, or Johnny, or Miles. I don't want her to be alone when I'm gonna go after her. I don't want you to argue me out. I just need you to know. I'm asking you to let me go. But wherever you go, I go. So if you tell me no, I won't. If you tell me to stay, I'll stay.
What happened to the buddy system?
Someone came and took one of our buddies, and now they don't have a buddy.
I'm not going to say no, but I want to get you there.
You can't win. I'm not going to fight. I'm not, even now, I'm not. I can be invisible. I can be intangible. I can find anyone. I can project my consciousness around the world. If someone took her out of the city, I don't know. I can't ask Johnny, but I'll find a way.
Can you find her in front of me?
No.
Do your magic shit?
I don't know where she is. I have to do some footwork first before I can do something like that.
Wynn kind of... It looks like she's running her tongue over her teeth in her mouth like she's thinking.
I am not a good enough Ashpu yet to find anyone anywhere. I'm working on it. But for now, I gotta do it the old-fashioned way. Ish. I have a starting point.
You can talk in my head, right?
If I can see you.
You can see me now. Can you put yourself in my head so I have contact with you while you're doing this?
That's not how it works.
I have no fucking clue how any of this works, man.
I'll have my phone in my pocket.
Okay.
And worse comes to worse, if I'm somewhere else, if I'm about to die or whatever, I will bring myself back to you to at least tell you so you're not left wondering.
If you're gonna
disappear from your body again, where are you leaving your body?
I'll have to figure it out. For now, I need to be in my body.
Okay.
I will let you know where it is. If I can.
I'm not going to fail anyone else, Neil.
Me neither.
Okay.
There's been so much hurt. Because I didn't act and just waited and waited and waited. And right now I can see it, and the longer I'm waiting, the lower the odds get. So I'm going to act the same way that you do, or Miles does, or Johnny does, or Britta does.
Yeah, you think there's no hurt that comes from acting versus not acting? Don't make that the basis of your decisions. If this is what you think is right, if finding her and protecting her, or at least being there for her, will bring you back and crack that shell that's around you right now, that's what I want you to fucking do.
I don't know. I just know that she's a member of our coterie, and no one comes into our city and takes our things. I'm done with my people being taken from me.
Wynn kind of gives this look like she appreciates that.
I can either do this, or I can go and I can prowl the neighborhoods and take everything back that was taken from me a different way. But at least this way, I'm helping other people.
Britta is my priority over your comic books, so of those two, I'm going to tell you to go find her.
Okay, that's all I needed to hear.
Please, this isn't a path you have to walk alone, so please, if there is an opportunity, check in.
If I could bring other people with me on this and have just as good of a chance of being not found, I would. But I really think I have the best chance.
That's why I'm saying you got a phone in your pocket, fucking use it.
I will.
Will you stay a little longer?
A little bit, as long as you need. And I want to walk with you out of the woods. This is buddy system. Nobody should be alone if they don't have to be.
It's an important new caveat we're throwing into it.
If they don't have to be?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll stay. And Neil, he's been like crouching, like holding Wynn, and she's been holding him the whole time. And he just sort of slumps his back down sort of against the wall and sits and just keeps holding on to Wynn, like rubbing a hand on her shoulder and just sitting there as long as she needs.
She eventually lets go.
Grab whatever you need.
Yeah, I think this place is going to get overtaken soon.
It doesn't look good. And in the meantime, if you need a place that's not Britta's or everybody should be trying to stay together, but if you want to stash that somewhere, and he nods towards the box, down where I used to grow my plants, there are plenty of places to hide it down there, and I moved enough clay and earth into there to cover the tub that there's plenty of places for you to put it if you need.
I appreciate it.
I also understand if you want to keep it close for a little while.
I need to find a new place. I need to find a new place to grow from.
I hear that. We'll find it. We will. I promise. Miles can help with that, obviously. Miles is much better at finding places than I am.
Wynn does let out a laugh, and it is a little bit unsettling. Just because she is generally a murder hobo or a very sad mama bear.
Seeing that he made her laugh, Neil kind of smiles and relaxes, and his face looks vaguely more human for the first time since he got here.
There you are.
And then he stands up and starts to fade back away again.
She squeezes his hand before he completely disappears.
You ready to go?
No, but I think it's time.
Because I am getting nervous about this, I think I'm just going to be gone by the time we hit the city limits. Is that okay?
She gives a sigh, shaking her head, and she's like,
once you're somewhere safe.
They're gonna kill me, Miles and Johnny.
You don't have to tell them I told you. You can throw me under the bus. I think
I'm
that's
not
totally
throwing
fine.
you anywhere. You're fragile. I'm not gonna break you.
Hurtful. And with a little bit of the old banter, I think the two of them walk back out of the woods.
She stays very close to him.
He stays right very close, reaches down at one point and holds her hand, gives it a squeeze, then lets go once they start getting more towards the haven and places that are safe.
Once their paths need to diverge, she lets go.
And with that, he takes a half step back so he's out of her sight, and then he's gone.
Good luck, man.
Britta, you ride the limo, and you have what is on the surface a very pleasant trip to West Hartford. There, Roman doesn't actually regale you with tales of his prowess or anything like that. He much prefers to allow silence to sit between the two of you as he sips his drink and simply enjoys the presence of his most recent conquest. And then you arrive to West Hartford, specifically to the Vanderbilt Mansion. And there are these massive gray pillars at the entrance to his haven. And right away you notice the very subtle but ever-present patrols of Bruja servants.
Do they appear to be ghouls, or do they appear to be Bruja?
They are Bruja servants. As to make it very clear that he keeps kindred the same way kindred keep ghouls.
How many of them do there appear to be?
You catch a half a dozen, but you can probably assume there are more.
Is it clearly West Hartford by the look of it? I don't think Britta's ever been in Hartford, and she would only have really pictures and like TV to go off of.
So where you are right now is largely just on a hill with really just this mansion kind of capturing your attention. As you arrive, he gets out of the limo. A driver opens the door for you, offering a hand to escort you out.
Britta will take it, looking around, trying to piece together exactly where she is, but she finds instead that her eyes land on the patrols. She counts them a bit, but she quickly redirects her attention back to Pendragon.
Pendragon does not seem to look at you and simply expects that you follow as he heads up the stairs. And then at the door, he opens it himself and then holds it open for you.
Britta takes a second to collect herself, her eyes falling to his, but she dips her head to him, and she walks on inside.
Inside, there is a collection. Art, beautiful, but most of it in the form of historical artifacts that have been kept from various wars, going all the way back to the hoplite weaponry kept by the Carthaginian army. And I do need a roll.
Her eyes are immediately falling to the first piece of art that is in front of her as she's looking all around already. This is self-control?
Yes. Your difficulty is 8.
1 success, that's an 8.
Okay. You manage to keep your wits about you. Soon, as he turns to speak, there is a pause as the two of you are interrupted, and a young man who is seemingly waiting in another room begins to approach and bows at the door. Your Grace, I have come to deliver a gift from the Toreador Primogen. And he turns, though you're not sure whether or not the Primogen notices. There is a look of irritation on the cold blue eyes of Pendragon. And the Toreador Primogen comes forward with what looks to be a fencing sword that is exquisitely crafted. You can keep the roll you already made.
Okay.
And he holds it up with his hands and offers it to his prince, very careful to keep his eyes down on the ground and show his subservience to Roman.
Though Britta is able to keep her wits about herself, she still gravitates in her gaze towards all the art, towards especially now the focus and this sword going into Roman Pendragon's hands. And the attitude is the only thing that draws her attention away between the two of them, watching their patterns.
Roman accepts the sword. He draws it and seems to examine the quality of the weapon. The Toreador Primogen bows again, and with this nervousness permeating from him, steps out and kind of leaves as quickly as he came. And Pendragon, who is examining the quality of the sword, looks to you. Tell me, your prince, what has he done for you? What has he taught you?
There's a long silence as Britta is trying to sort through. It seems like the first thought wins out, even though she might not actually want it to. That sometimes there's no choice but to trust.
He taught you to trust among kindred.
That choice would be revoked.
I see. Did he teach you about why the Camarilla exists? About why we play the games that we play?
When I had first arrived, He spoke about domain and leading.
Do you feel it? The way your beast reacts to one life. The way it drives you to act upon hunger. The way it compels you to protect the things that you love, the things that are yours. Can you feel the violence that it urges you towards?
Britta looks down, but she answers, "Yes, I don't want to. You asked me what he taught me, and one of the first things was how to pop out my fangs."
Fangs. More than fangs. More than blood. He kind of very quickly, with this motion that can't actually be tracked with your eyes, presses the very tip of his sword to your chin and kind of forces you to expose your throat to him. That monster that lurks in you, it resides in all of us. And that is why the Camarilla exists. Because it must express itself. And these courtly games, this intrigue, is the only reason that we do not simply destroy each other and take what we want. And it is the only reason that I will be playing this game. Now, he does not remove the point of his sword from your chin.
Britta makes no effort to not be moved. She is fluid. She lets her chin be tilted up to him.
You are my prisoner, my captive. And so long as you are mine, you will be but a hair's breadth from destruction. And he kind of puts the sword away. And you will remember that. You will remember that when we leave. In Rhode Island, in Newport, an ally of mine is holding a gala. You are coming with me. And you will serve as a symbol of how the politics that exist between Hartford and New Haven are going.
Britta stays very still, keeping her chin up as he had directed. And at the mention of Newport, Rhode Island, the identification, the tiny scraps of information that she had heard about it in the past, flit through her brain very quickly. But keeping her own eyes fixed on his, she nods just slightly and says, "Yes, Your Grace."
Good. As far as my allies need be concerned, you are the embodiment of New Haven, for all your scandals and the fame you have acquired, being acknowledged in Boston.
Britta's eyes flick down and then up at that, a trace of self-consciousness showing through.
You will serve as the fabricated representation of my conquest over New Haven.
Fabricated representation.
You weren't acknowledged by accident.
You told Quentin King to do what he did.
Yes.
And the things that he did there, he did apart from that, because of you.
Yes. It is why I sent you to Boston.
And you and him, you had spoken about talks that the two of you had had about our coterie.
If I have to walk you through it, it would be a terrible disappointment. What are you wearing?
So, just for description's sake, she is wearing the red leather jacket that Johnny gave to her. That's the top layer over a black long-sleeve shirt with a boat neck, and the gloves that she's worn today are satin, stretch. They probably go up a decent length up the arm, but you can't see beneath the jacket and the shirt. And relatively practical pants, boots. It's what she wore to kill the killing spree. So, what she answers Pendragon is, we were going after the abbot, so it's practical.
I see. You can kind of see in his expression that he is more lenient of your attire due to what you were doing. And the abbot is addressed.
We've killed her, yes.
I see. For all that fussing about my methods. My servants are going to escort you to your room. There, you will be provided with something appropriate to wear. You will be bathed, and you will be cared for.
Britta looks like she's trying to stifle some confusion, but instead she settles on the next thought and she says, "Your Grace."
Yes?
You were talking about your methods, and yes, She takes an unnecessary swallow, trying to steady her voice, and no longer is succeeding at keeping her chin up tilted where he had placed it. She finds herself looking down again, as she continues on to say, It didn't feel so different from what you were talking about, no, and we should have seen that before.
There is time yet. He kind of moves, sort of again expecting you to follow him.
She does.
And he heads into a parlor, again, beautifully decorated.
All right. Would you like to describe how beautifully decorated before or after I roll this?
You're going to roll first.
Gotcha. What's the difficulty? Jokes. It's definitely a wash. There's a 10, a 1, and a 2.
All right, that's a wash. You follow him, and in the room, there is a gorgeous piano and sitting space and oil paintings that are arranged such that you find yourself lost in them.
Britta had steeled herself, trying to walk her own feet into Roman Pendragon's haven, at least for the first room, but something about going through another doorway makes it so real. And deeper in, her eyes linger on the keys, and she is lost.
You don't know how long it is that you focus on this, but soon, at some point, you hear the word, Madam, Madam, Madam.
She kind of shakes her head and tries to come back into focus.
After kind of turning, you see a young woman, maybe a little older than you, at least in terms of appearance, and she is dressed as more of a servant than an actual guest of the prince. His Grace insisted that you were cared for, provided with a bath and clothing.
Yes. What's your name?
Maria.
I'm Britta.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Britta.
You too.
She kind of looks over her shoulder. As Grace doesn't often keep guests like you.
At the mention of Pendragon once more, Britta realizes, having come back into focus after the trance, that she definitely went into a trance around Roman Pendragon, and she does a quick check over herself to see if just anything's different.
The only thing that is different is that outside the windows, there is this lightening of the night sky, like dawn is approaching, and Roman is not in the room.
Spotting that the sky has gotten a bit lighter, her eyes fall back to the woman she's talking to, and she asks, what does that, what's different about me, if you don't mind me asking, please?
His Grace does not prefer the company of guests. She gives this look like she is going to be accommodating, or you start kind of getting the impression that she's not overly thrilled that you're here.
He's normally alone in here.
Yes. Left to his studies. So why are you here?
Politics.
Oh, okay. All right.
Britta doesn't look sure when she says it.
Why don't I drop a bath?
Thank you.
She leads you to this room, and the room, I'm not going to have you roll again.
You can.
But it is again just absolutely gorgeous. Incredible use of candelabras. The fireplace is huge and set into the wall and perfectly arranged. And of course there's this just massive, ridiculous bed with a canopy. How many successes do you have on this roll?
Double botch.
Okay. So she brings you into the room and you examine the canopy, and your hand kind of runs along the soft bed, and you just come to again in another room, having been guided. And there is this massive bathroom that is almost the same size as the room that you were just in however long ago. You're starting to really feel the weight of the sun at this point coming. And there is a bath that is drawn for you. The woman that was assigned to care for you, Maria, is just kind of waiting with her arms crossed with this kind of frustrated expression.
Does she appear to be kindred or ghoul?
You get the impression she's alive.
Okay.
Madam?
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. And Britta definitely seems to expect her to leave.
She doesn't.
I can take a bath now, and...
I will be on the other side of the door.
Thank you. And with that, Britta will actually get ready for the bath if she seems to be going.
There's many towels and everything you can possibly need arranged by her. It looks like you gave her so much time to get the bath ready that she really kind of took advantage of it. And she steps out and she closes the double doors leading to the bath.
Britta will start by taking off the jacket, but the sensation of disrobing in such an unfamiliar and looming place pauses her. And is there a window in this room?
There is a window that can look out, yeah.
She looks more to the window frame than the window, understanding the lightness that she had seen earlier, trying to divert her eyes away from it, and takes that one moment of hesitation of very much not wanting to be any more vulnerable than she is, but that's not, she feels a choice that she can make. So she gets her clothes off and gets into the bath, and sensing the warmth of it, just something about that touch, the warmth heating dead skin, just makes her break down a bit and curl in and on herself in there. It takes her a moment to actually get clean.
It feels like after a time you are left to your own devices. And when you're finished and head out of the bathroom covered by a towel, Maria is left, and in her place, awaiting for you, sitting in a seat, legs crossed, is Roman. And on the bed, kind of half obscured by the canopy, is this, what looks to be this, like, velvet dress that lies on the bed.
Britta pauses in the doorway as she spots Roman Pendragon while she's in a towel. And immediately, the combination of her high humanity and her blush of health means that she's going to be blushing. It's not a choice. She freezes a bit. Her eyes fall to the dress and to him, and she forces her feet to move towards him.
You're unsure whether or not the fact that you're just wearing a towel really has any impact on him. But he's clearly noticed the way you blush, and sort of watching you with these unblinking eyes, he speaks up. You are going to be meeting a fellow prince by the name of Warwick. Understand that he has a certain disdain for the Toreador. You will not be the only Toreador there. What I expect of you is that you will convince him of New Haven's stability. I understand that there is trouble in your domain. You will leave it out of conversation. As far as he need be concerned, New Haven is ready for the many princes that are on their way to it.
I understand.
I should warn you that Warwick is Shaw's sire.
Britta bites something back, but dips her head down, once again conveying her understanding.
The blow you dealt to his Webb is not forgotten, but you are arriving with me. You will leave with me. Cross me, and I will destroy you. But do not, and nothing can touch you. He gets up, and he walks out.
Britta waits until the footsteps have completely faded, before taking in a breath that she doesn't need as an undead kindred, and just leaning against one of the posts of the bed, clutching the towel closer and trying to pull herself back together. Takes a few more breaths that don't help before steeling herself to look at this dress.
Yeah.
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 It is nicer than anything you have ever seen Elsa wear. Yeah.
Britta dies.
What a dick for explicitly picking a dress that is nicer than any of Elsa's dresses. What a very specific petty dick move.
His whole home is a Toreador trap.
Oh, yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
No Toreador assassins here.
Well.
Oh, shit.
Damn!
Difficulty?
9.
110.
Oh, shit.
Get it, girl.
I've got a whole list of questions about this dress, so I'm going to have to ask.
Hell yeah.
The first question is, does it appear to be ready-made or does it appear to be custom? Are there tags inside?
There are no tags inside.
When I look at this dress, how old does it appear to be?
The dress does not... So, we're like using your auspex and like going over this like a detective.
Yeah.
You actually get the impression that the fabric was very recently cut and sewn to the shape of this dress. This dress was made for you.
Are the measurements correct as I hold it? Like, I obviously haven't tried to put it on yet, but visually, does it look correct?
The measurements are correct.
Are there shoes? Are there anything else that you would need with a dress?
So within the room, there is this massive bureau. There's all these, like, chests at the foot of the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's tons of shoes, jewelry. You're kind of given some leave to accent the dress how you choose.
This is how Britta gets Stockholm Syndrome.
But the dress has been specifically chosen and was probably made in Boston.
As I look to the shoes, the jewelry, are the shoes labeled? Are they the correct size? Same set of questions. Britta is using her skill as a toreador to attempt to get information that only she might be able to get out of this.
The labels are largely like some of the huge names in France, and the dress is specifically made for you, but everything else is just the poshest, most like impressive choices that could have been put together.
Okay, Erika has a question because Erika is a costumer and a giant nerd about these things. What era is the dress styled to look from?
That was actually going to be...
Okay,
I told you a whole paragraph of questions.
It is important because the dress comes in many parts, and it is from the late 1700s. Depending on your experience with fashion, this is the kind of stuff that people would wear to, like, Queen Anne's ball.
What did you whisper?
A decapitation.
or a decapitation. Looking just right for it, you know?
Yeah. Spot on.
There is even the option for a blue silk ribbon.
I'm sorry, I am sidelining this so hard.
No. You're welcome here. I just wish the audience could hear you smiling.
It's so big!
But it appears that this very old dress has been recut or remade.
This dress is very new, but is made in a very old style.
Does it have the requisite undergarments to make it look right?
It has all, that's what I mean by many parts. Like, all the undergarments are laid out, but it's got
like the bum rolls and it's got the side thing so she could smuggle a widescreen TV under it.
Yes, it is for the whole look can be...
I needed this, thank you.
complete.
I am assuming English.
It is English.
Britta, having taken stock of the dress and the shoes and the measurements and all of it, actually retreats back to the bathroom for a moment, and she retrieves her clothes, most protective over the jacket, brings them back over. Are there dressers? Is there storage in the room?
There is, lots. This is a very spacious space. He could probably keep you here for, like, years.
How comforting.
And
That's a very fun statement.
As I go to open a dresser, does it have things in it, or am I putting it into an empty dresser?
So for the most part, there aren't actually clothes, but there's enough that you could probably be comfortable for a few weeks without having to rewear the same thing. And definitely room for him to just kind of put more in. Regardless,
she's going to make sure to hang up the leather jacket, and looking around at everything and the fact that the sun is drawing near, she's going to try to pick out something to sleep in. The dress is far too extravagant and complicated, and looking around for something to sleep in, it's so clear that she's seeking comfort, that she's seeking something almost like she's looking for the least expensive thing in the room.
So you kind of quickly figure out that thousands of dollars have been invested into your kidnapping. And there's just nothing to sleep in that isn't silk or...
As this realization is striking her, she's actually going to search the room. You know what? I'm imagining that there's a couple things that I picture being in this room. One of the first things that comes to mind is some kind of vanity. Is that true?
Yes.
Britta will walk to this vanity, and noticing the thousands of dollars that have been invested into this kidnapping and the scenario, she, still clutching the towel, is going to reach out to the frame of it, and as if touching the frame of it, as if once again becoming entranced in the same things that caught her earlier about this room. But what she's really going to do is poke the glass with a mirror to trace her finger along it to see if it's a real mirror. When you touch a one-sided mirror, it appears as if you're touching the mirror, versus when you touch a real mirror, there's a space between your finger and the reflection.
So, if what you are wondering is if someone could watch you from the other side,
that's the paranoid thought that's entered Britta's mind at this point.
Your fears are confirmed.
Britta continues trailing her hand along the side of the mirror as if, again, simply trying to take in what she's looking at. But with that information registered, she gives up on the idea of finding something that's not extravagant, pulls out the first thing she sees. It's probably a silk nightdress, retreats back to the bathroom, changes, and comes back in. Once that's through and every preparation that she can think of, she looks around the room for anything else like that, anything that looks like it might have a hidden compartment or secret, but the sun is drawing near and she's just starting to feel helpless, so her attention isn't fully on it.
You search the confines of your cell and find that beyond the mirror, everything here has been placed for your comfort. And eventually, having not found any further signs of being watched, you are left with no choice but to rest for the day.
She'll crawl into the four-poster bed, and when Britta goes to sleep, she always curls very tightly, almost childlike. Maybe it's a habit left over from her training in the Shadowlands or from having lost that part of herself. But she lays herself to rest, and something about being alone in that moment, something about the silence, it has been never in her memory since she's been alone like this, since she hasn't been with the coterie for any extended amount of time. She finds just the urge to fall apart creeping on in, and she tries to cover her face as she lays down to rest so that there wouldn't be a hint of that coming through.
Miles, Johnny, it's the two of you, alone in Cedarhurst Cafe, Britta's haven. Britta is gone. Wynn has fucked off to who knows where. Neil might be in this room, might not. In all likelihood, it's just the two of you, smoking Morleys and brooding about what comes next.
Johnny has a lit Morley, hanging out his lip. He paces over to the front of the door, looks back and forth along the street just to make sure we're alone, walks back over, and from the holster under his jacket pulls out the matte black axe, puts it on the table, and gives you a hard stare. We have a praxis to take, Miles. You want to walk me through what you're thinking?
I will. Miles has his feet up on the same table that the axe went on. The coat is off somewhere else, and he's smoking another one of Johnny's Morleys. So I've been thinking about it for a while, and Upton's paranoia has definitely not only made it a necessity, but it's made it more possible. I know where his haven is. I know its layout. I know just about all of its security.
He's got some ghouls that will be watching for him, doesn't he?
Not many. If he's got any left, would be surprising. He sent them all away.
All of them?
The paranoia. Yeah, I don't know if he's kept any. That I haven't got that information, or if he's picked up any new ones that maybe he can trust more. But all of his old ones, whatever Quentin hit him with, has caused him to be deeply paranoid of all those around him. He wouldn't even let his ghouls dress him. So that's given us an opportunity. The house is mostly unguarded, it seems like. There may be very little resistance. So I have tapped into the powers of Dominate and progressed my understanding of them. And I have been slowly working on one of his old combat-focused ghouls.
You can see Johnny's expression is a little bit shocked. His eyebrow kind of pops up. It seems like it's been taking some time. You've actually been thinking about this longer than I thought you have.
Since we went to go talk to Elsa. Essentially, since the night he declared the ordeal for Neil. I made Britta drink twice. It was...
Johnny nods along, and you can see that his expression is one that he accepts your answer, but you can see that he's giving you a look like he thinks it's been longer than that.
He takes a long drag off the cigarette and nods his head at the look and is like, Rollins has been a terrible leader in some ways. He throws away the resources he should be encouraging and has done a lot to hurt the domain, though he's helped his own particular friends. He's kept the people close to him. He's done a decent job of protecting.
Johnny puts a hand up. You can practice the lines all you want. You don't have to convince me of anything. I'm in. What are we doing?
Right. So, I go during the day. I possess the ghoul that I've been conditioning. I asked to borrow Chaps' backup.
Talking about Wynn's Fisher Cat?
Wynn's Fisher Cat.
All right, so those two ghouls in the day.
I go there, and I stake him while he's sleeping. And then I return back with the ghouls, leaving Chaps there to guard. And me and you come back when night falls.
Huh. That easy, huh?
I mean, no. It's a series of events that have left him unprotected, but also, it's...
Have you thought about how you want to deliver the killing blow?
Yes.
Is it something you want to share?
There are other princes coming. And Pendragon. And Roland's own allies, those kindred outside the domain. They're not going to deal with a neonate. Not in the same way.
I get it.
So, I must become a shield.
After tonight, we're going to have to do a lot of work to make sure that this is accepted. I know that you've been doing your preliminary footwork. You talked to Elsa. You talked to Reese. What about the other clans?
Not so much.
I think the gangrel Wynn ought to be behind us. Malkavian?
If anything we got from what Britta and Neil told us, I believe Nyx is going to generally abstain.
Yeah, I don't have much of a read on Nyx. You think we're going to be clear there?
We'll find out. I don't know. She's nigh unreadable most of the time. But she's also not terribly political.
How about the Nos? I don't think Renwick is a fan of Roland's or anything part of the Gemini League, but he certainly isn't a fan of our coterie.
I'm hoping he's done some research, but my plan is to talk to him afterwards. I think if he's amenable, he seems like an excellent scourge.
That does leave Clan Bruja. I'd like to say that Clan Bruja has her back, but unfortunately, I think you've just got me, Jane, and unfortunately, she's in the hands of who knows what, and Weathers, who, if he's giving lip service to the domain still, will be here, but I think he might as well be kind of gone.
Well, I would like to get Jane back, and I've liked to put Jane into some point on this court. I would check with Elsa, but I'm not opposed to her being a seneschal. And I think it would go to some degree for making the Bruja feel better.
Jane is seneschal?
Jane is seneschal. I like Jane.
That would certainly be a win for the Bruja, and I think she would do very well. But we will have to get her back.
Yeah.
Either way, calling the Bruja together is going to be a make it or break it moment for you, I think.
I was thinking about going the Shaw method, making sure they're taken care of.
That's not a bad idea.
I need to figure out a good way to do so, but...
We can call a rave. It's a Bruja meeting, kind of like a rant. But we're allowed to bring outsiders. Just because you've claimed praxis doesn't mean you can just show up. Well, I could certainly bring you. I could talk to... Hell, I don't know who to talk to. Maybe Amara. Get her to bring somebody else. If Weathers will pick up my call, I can get him to bring somebody. But we can jump on this. Try and make sure that the domain is solid afterwards, but it's going to be a precarious situation.
I expected as much.
Pendragon could show up, and he's going to have the ear of the Bruja, so we better have some things to give them, whether that's status, a feeling of protection, something.
Sounds good. I mean, I'd planned on trying to get to the Bruja back, but also just to make this domain better for all the kindred living here.
There certainly isn't as many Brujas as there used to be, but there's enough that they are an element that I think could secure your place as the new prince.
This is not where I wanted to be at this time, but here we are.
I'll start looking into what we can do to get this rave off the ground. It won't be as good as if Jane was around, but I'll try my best.
At that point, the door kind of creaks open, not as though she's trying to sneak in, but she's just moving a little slower. Wynn walks in, dripping wet from the rain, and with one arm, she's clutching this bank safety deposit box to her chest, and she doesn't meet either of your eyes, and she just shuts the door behind her and walks in and perches, I guess, on a table. She doesn't choose a chair. She sits on the edge of a table and pulls her knees up to her chest. Doesn't say anything.
Miles looks over at Johnny and then to Wynn.
Wynn gives a pause. She lets the silence sit for a minute.
Johnny stands up, goes walking over to a back closet behind where the baristas would make drinks in this coffee shop. Goes fishing around and pulls out some bar towels. Comes walking back over to where Wynn's perched up, sets him down next to her, and offers her a cigarette.
She doesn't really seem to acknowledge that the towels are there. She takes a cigarette, but she just kind of folds it between her fingers, like magicians would do with a coin, just kind of dances it over her fingertips.
He watches her do that for a second, fishes around in his pocket, and pulls out a Zippo. He doesn't actually light it. He just motions to see if she wants a light.
Almost on reflex, she'll reach out with the cigarette and let him light it.
He does so.
I don't know where to start.
About what?
I didn't mean to keep secrets.
It's kind of part of the job.
It's kind of part of the lifestyle.
Johnny, you should not be forgiving me right now.
Johnny walks over to where the table is with the axe, takes off his jacket and puts it on the chair next to Miles, cracks his neck, folds his arms, and gives a look at Wynn and says, "All right, get it off your head. Get it off your mind. What's up?"
Do you want me to start with Neil or the humans?
Is Neil safe?
I don't know. Probably not. Neil went after Britta.
Johnny looks over at Miles.
He ashes part of the cigarette out in response and goes, "I hope it's not a regrettable action in the end."
Johnny nods at that. And now you were saying something about the humans?
Yeah.
Which ones?
The ones whose house we couldn't get into. Johnny's daughter and Joey's mom.
Suarez group.
Ramirez.
What about them?
Johnny, you're going to hit me at some point. Do you want to do it now or do you want to do it after?
I don't like all of this. Just, assumption that I'm going to do something stupid, so just out with it.
Ramirez came here and talked to Britta and me. He wanted information about Hell House because they're going after it, because Joey's mom thinks it's what killed her son and she needs revenge. They are all going after it.
Hell House.
123 Ogden Street.
Where Vito kept that thing.
Yeah.
When did they tell you this?
Before we went after the abbot.
Earlier tonight?
Before that. And I took your choice from you, Johnny, and I fucking robbed you of the opportunity to have a father's rage. And it was a dick move. But I had one of two choices, and I went with one of them.
How long ago did they say they were going to do this?
Less than a week. And I saw Ramirez. He was doing reconnaissance. They hadn't gone for it yet.
I see. You can see that Johnny his eyes are darting back and forth, and he's kind of on edge. His fingers are kind of typing at something that's not there.
He talked to Britta and I less than a week ago about their plans. And Britta and I, Jesus Christ, anything I say feels like it's gonna be just fucking patronizing as shit.
They haven't gone yet?
I don't think so.
Can you get in touch with them?
I can call Ramirez.
I'll give them a call.
I don't think you should.
Please, don't take this from me as well. I will give them a call. Miles, you need to let her know about everything we're doing tonight. Plans on for tomorrow, and we're going to go in tomorrow night, correct?
That's correct. Well, more like the day after, but starts in the day.
I gotta go make a phone call. Johnny heads to the back room.
Johnny, what's your fucking goal?
He just heads to the back room and doesn't respond.
God, I wish he had fucking hit me.
You shouldn't have presented it to him. He might have just taken it then.
Yeah, I have kept enough from him.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying that. Anyways. So, how's the rain?
Wet.
Where you been?
She kind of looks down at the box that she's holding. I had to get something from my haven. I don't think I can go back there. It's cordoned off, public health, I think. The mushrooms have grown.
Shit.
We can't kill them, Miles. We need to focus on the things we can change.
I know. I'm just adding it to my mental list of horrible things that exist in our neighborhood.
That you know about. They've always existed, Miles.
Well, that's why I have a list of the ones that I know about.
Fair enough.
Especially if we're talking about the fact that this is soon going to be a domain we're running.
Bitch said what?
You were here for the praxis conversation earlier.
Yeah, I didn't think you were serious.
What makes you think I wouldn't be serious?
The part that you were real keen on making sure that no one took praxis from Upton Rollins.
Yeah, well, I have different general orders from my sire at this point. Not orders, I don't want to make him sound. He has given me a choice. And Upton has not presented himself the first part of the choice. He's not been able to put himself together, to get himself in line. So, if we don't do this, these 12 princes coming up here are going to run ramshod all over this domain.
Roughshod.
Whatever.
Read a book.
I've read a lot of books.
I'm sure you have.
It's not in a while. Also, why are we poking at me right now?
I don't know. It's instinct.
Okay. So, they're going to cause essentially a civil war if they come up here and this domain is not together.
It's not going to be fucking good.
No.
Why are they bringing them here?
That's where they're bringing him? I'm assuming it's probably because most of the rest of the East Coast is falling.
Yeah, but there's why not send them to Maine? Let's keep them out of harm's way.
Have you been to Maine?
Yeah, I have. It's really nice.
Yeah, that's probably why they're not.
Have you ever eaten a moose? It's a really good meal.
I have not. Look, I don't think your tastes run parallel to the tastes of most other princes.
Yeah, tell me something I don't know.
Okay, well, that's why we were talking about why they wouldn't go to Maine.
Yeah, but they're not princes right now. They're just people.
Right, they're
just
displaced princes, which means they are people of power and status and of most likely violence.
So why would they send them to a domain that is not stable? Or that is right in the line of fire?
There's something else going on. I don't have all the information. It's compartmentalized.
Of fucking course it is.
Okay.
That's not a dig at you. That's a dig at the fucking Camarilla as a whole.
I get it. I get that this is mildly confusing, but also we ended up on the side of making sure the prince is safe, partially because his allies were Reese and fucking Shaw.
Now I have the image of Reese fucking Shaw. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. My present to you.
Thank you for that. Wynn can't keep the smile from cracking on her face at this point, and she just kind of finally, having not made eyes at anybody, finally meets Miles's eyes.
He's still kind of relaxing on the table. There is definitely an energy, and this is mostly a projection. We're doing this for a lot of reasons. Do you want a personal one, or do you want a domain one?
I don't need a reason, Miles. You said that we need to take praxis, and I trust you.
You were just questioning why the change.
You fucking met me. I question everything.
All right. So we're doing
I'm a shit stirrer.
Yup.
Thank you for not arguing that point, because I would.
Gee.
I don't know, man.
Unlike a shit stirrer that you are.
I don't...
How much do you want to know?
I want to know everything. Do you want to know what's up with Neil?
He decided that he could go after Britta because he thinks he can't get caught.
He decided to go after Britta because he's tired of not making a choice and having bad things happen anyway.
I mean, great. Making choices make bad things happen too, so I get it.
I told him, but I think he needs this.
Sure.
And he's probably not going to get caught. And he's got a cell phone, so...
He's very prepared. Look, I can't stop him. My job isn't to police you people and your actions. As I said before, let's hope it doesn't become regrettable. Because if it does, I'm not sure about my own response.
Wynn just kind of shakes her head and shrugs and just like, I feel like our knights are increasingly losing control of who's pointing what guns at people.
I very rarely lose focus on the people threatening those around me.
I really wish Johnny hadn't left. Ramirez says that some guy stormed into the house and took Jane, and it really sounds like it was Weathers.
I mean, that's fantastic news.
It is. That's why I kind of wish Johnny hadn't left. I probably should have led with that.
That would have been a good one, yeah.
Can you teach me how to talk to people better?
I can.
That would probably be for the best.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm fucking Primogen. Who fucking let that happen? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, you killed the last one, so that's kind of how it happened.
He had it coming.
Well, that's how you end up being Primogen. So the biggest thing is, just take a second before you say things. It's like the biggest...
I don't follow.
Yep. That's all you have to do. Just stop, think about what you're going to say, then say it.
Doesn't feel right.
Okay, well... I can't teach you if you're not...
I'm going to try and internalize it, Miles,
Okay.
but I'm just saying my gut instinct, which is to say anything, says that I should say that it doesn't track.
All right, I'm going to say something. That sounds like a Gangrel Primogen to me, so I feel like you're doing fine.
She kind of gives a slow nod with a small smile.
I mean, if you want to, like, take someone by surprise, you can change it up, but that's pretty much what people expect out of a Gangrel Primogen.
I'm not sure people expect a Gangrel Primogen these days.
We have one.
We do. Good, bad, or indifferent.
So.
All right. So let me fill in the blanks. I might ask questions. I might not.
Great. I'm going to give you this as mildly truncated to get to the point.
Johnny, you're alone in the back room.
He fishes through his pockets and finds a little notebook that he keeps for himself where he writes down important details. Things like phone numbers, because normally he can't remember those kind of things. He flips through and finds Sheila's number. He sits down, takes a moment to collect himself while looking at the phone in the back office, and dials the number for Sheila's phone.
The phone rings, and rings, and rings, and rings. And then, rather abruptly, someone answers on the other end. Hello?
Sheila, it's Johnny Saxon. Please don't hang up.
She fumbles with the phone. You can kind of hear that she was very much so about to hang up.
Just hear me out.
What do you want, Johnny?
Look, I'm sorry about how strong I came off before. I know Jessica's with you. Please, just listen to me. I need you guys to know how dangerous the task you're taking on is. And I know I can't dissuade you from doing that, but please let me at least help you. I've been there before. I've been to that house. I know what's in there. I will tell you what I know. Please let me at least speak to my daughter. I'll meet you wherever you need to meet to feel safe. I know you think I'm sick or something, and you're entitled to that opinion. Let me know what I need to do in order to help her.
Johnny, there is something wrong with you. But that doesn't make you a bad person. And you don't need to justify that you are still a man who cares for his daughter to me. I trust that. Here's what does concern me.
Okay.
This house, whatever it is that's there, it co-opts anything that it can touch.
I know.
So what happens if it gets you? So if there's anything you know about this place, any information you can give, okay, my number's right here. I'm happy to talk to you. I am. And if there's anything I can do to help you with this blood addiction, I'm happy to talk about that too. To help you and your friends heal and figure out how to stay good people. Suarez has a plan, and we're working through it. Just please don't kick in our door. What happened with the other...
I promise I will not do anything stupid. I will not attack. I will not kick in your door. I won't attack you. I won't do any of those things. I want to make sure that you are as informed and safe as possible.
I have to warn you. She's your kid?
She's my daughter.
She got banged up pretty bad when that other vampire came.
How bad?
Some broken bones. We're trying to make sure she ends up in good health and spirits before we head out. But he hurt her.
Let me come with you.
Let me take it to Suarez.
You tell him that I will do whatever he asks. Just let him know that whatever you need, I'll make sure you get it.
Okay. I'm going to bring it right to him.
I have a beeper number, if you want to write it down.
Yeah, give me a second. Your rifle with some paper and a pen. What's your number?
It's 999. He gives her the number.
Yep. Okay. We'll be reaching out. Okay.
Tell Jessica I love her. Tell her I'm sorry. Please.
It's okay, Mr. Saxon. I'll tell her.
Thank you, Sheila.
You take care of yourself, okay?
You kids take care of yourself, all right?
All right. And she disconnects.
Johnny just sits with the phone against his ear for a while. He feels his eyes welling up with blood. He slowly and gently puts the phone back down on its cradle. Puts his head down on the desk and kind of just breathes a shaky breath and is unable to do so because he's just racked with sobs. And it just kind of drains blood onto the table and sits in the back room until somebody comes for him.
Eventually, after she's done talking to Miles, Wynn kind of makes her way in, still holding the box, sees Johnny falling apart, heads over and just kind of leans over him and kind of wraps him up like a mother bird wrapping something under her wing. Parenthood's a fucking bitch, isn't it?
He shakes a little bit under her, puts a hand up and kind of just taps her gently, and then sits up, kind of straightens out. He has these dried, caked blood stains running down his cheeks from where his tear ducts are unable to function. The Camarilla gave me a way to protect my family, even through this curse. At least that's what I thought. The only reason I kept going night after night was that I knew there were terrors in the dark, and my family could run into them again, like I did. And when I tried to protect them, it was too heavy of a hand. And Weathers gave me the ability to protect them from a distance, and I still fucked it up! She is out there trying to do what everybody should have done. Fight against the evil things in the world. Put things right. And I've distanced myself from her. She thinks... Who knows what she thinks about me? She's terrified to even see me, and I can't help her, Wynn. I'm a father that can't even see his daughter and tell her that he's got her back. I ruined everything.
Wynn kind of hugs him a little closer.
He wiggles away and kind of pushes her off. He can't even bear to be touched by someone right now.
She respects that. Johnny, is it important that she knows?
No, it's not important that she knows. It's important that she has her father.
She does.
She doesn't. She's about to go off to fight whatever the thing is that Vito brought to this country, whatever he grew in the basement of that place. She's going to try and do something about it, and she's going to get herself killed.
How much time does she have? What's the timeline? Did they give you any indication?
No.
Okay. Then here's what I'm going to fucking tell you. We can't control what our kids do or who they become. But the impact that we have on them, they will feel. And you had an impact.
My impact was to abandon her.
And your impact was to make her stronger. It's not just all bad shit, Johnny. Whatever she is now is at least in part because of you. She is a strong person.
I killed a boy that she was interested in because I thought he was putting the moves on her. Did I ever tell you that? I probably fucked her up good and plenty for that.
Probably made an impact.
That's not the right kind of impact.
We can't control that all the time.
So
we do the best we can to protect our kids, Johnny.
We didn't do the best we could. I could have done a million other things.
You could have. You didn't.
When I have failed over and over and over again. When I called Jean, my wife, to tell her that I was still alive and that I needed her to get out of town, I lied to her and said I was going to meet her on the outskirts, and I didn't. I just ran away again. I have consistently failed this family. I thought the Camarilla was going to do the right things for them, and you know what? That was probably a failure as well. And now I am reaping what I have sown. And this girl is going to go to that house, and she is going to get herself killed, and I'm not there.
Then let's fucking be there.
I can't just wait outside for her. The thing that I am now, what if she goes during the day? Who knows when it's going to be? I could sit there every night, but I'm not sure sitting outside that place would be good for me. They brought up a point. This place is some kind of curse. It co-ops things. How the weeping bear left a stain that won't go away.
Nope.
If I just sit outside that place, maybe when she finally does come there, I won't be able to actually help her. Aside from that, I've made my bed in the Camarilla. And there are things that I've promised. I have to have Miles's back. I called Sheila and let her know that whatever they need from me, I'll do it, but I gotta wait for them to make the call. Hopefully Jessica will want to reach out.
For what it's worth, Johnny, I don't think it's a matter of whether she wants to or not. She made that clear. She reached out. It's whether she thinks she should at this point. And for what it's worth, Ramirez, I told him, call if they run into trouble. So they've got 2 means of getting in touch with us.
Why did all this happen when Neil's got his weird conspiracy, Malkavian nonsense? He says they don't have strings. I don't know what the fuck that means. He feels like he sees under the hood, under the veil of whatever, but I think he's blinded by other nonsense. What is this group of people?
According to Ramirez, they're just people.
That's not true.
I don't think it is either, but I don't think they know. I know that, according to Neil, it's the end times. I know the 6th Great Maelstrom is coming, and the Shadowlands is going to be wiped away. And I think in a time when so many things are ending, something new has cropped up. And there is a single light in this darkness. And I think we have to put our trust into that. Bullshit though it may be.
You know what I think?
Yeah.
I think this is us reaping what we've sown.
Don't ascribe morality to this bullshit, Johnny.
It's not bullshit.
You didn't choose this. I didn't choose this.
Choice isn't this. Choice is abandoning families. Choice is... You see him kind of have a angry and mournful look in his eye, and he is unable to finish his thought. But his fangs are bared.
Johnny, do you want to go hunting, or do you want to go to that bullshit bar that I found you at and drink them out of tequila? Or do you want to hit me? Something. Tell me how to help you right now.
I think I need you to walk me home.
Let's go.
Tell Miles I'm going to listen to records, go to sleep, and I'll be ready to stand by his side when he kills Upton Rollins tomorrow night.
You hear from around the doorframe. See you tomorrow night.
I don't think I need to.
Johnny looks up over at Miles.
He's not visible.
Oh.
It's like from around the doorframe, meaning that Miles have been listening.
Johnny looks up towards the doorframe and smiles and nods, even though Miles can't see that. Johnny slowly, shakily stands up.
Wynn reaches out a hand to kind of like take his to help him up.
She still has an arm around the box.
He looks at the box, looks over at her. I'll be good making it home. And don't you say a goddamn word about the buddy system.
Well, then I'm gonna say that I'm just happen to be going in the same direction.
You stay with Miles and get things worked out with Chaps for tomorrow. I'll be alright.
Let me know when you believe that.
Johnny pats one on the shoulder and heads out the door and walks back to his haven.
Neil, as you know, a lot has been going on, particularly with members of your coterie being off and separate from the group. So why don't we go over your plan of action, and we'll make the rules for it, and I'll walk you through the details of the information that you gleaned from it.
So Neil has a quick thought, a little guiltily after he leaves Wynn, after they had their moment walking back into the city, that he was the one most recently being like, hey, nobody goes off anywhere alone, as he goes off somewhere alone. Steps back into the shadows, into an alley, and the first thing he's going to do is pull one of his remaining ribbons out of his little sorcerer's fanny pack. And because he is fully aware of who Britta is and where she was, he's going to light up, sort of starting at her haven, because that's where we last know she definitely was, and follow the trail where she would have been gone on foot until either he loses the trail or she starts moving too fast for him to follow, and just try and find the point where she starts speeding away, because whether she celerity'd or got into a car, like that would have been triggered by something. And then he'll look around for more clues once he gets to a break point. If he's lucky, he'll just walk into Britta, but he does not think he's going to get that lucky.
Go ahead and give me the roll for the casting, and we will begin there.
Success.
Okay. Your tracking leads you to downtown New Haven. When you get there, you find yourself arriving to a spot that's like right out on the curb, kind of giving you the impression that from here she probably got into a car.
So he sees the smoky line in front of him and just follows it.
Yep, the trail brings you to that point, and then...
To that point, and then it sort of goes straight in a direction down the street.
Exactly.
Okay. Looking at the point where obviously she, where it stops being sort of the natural meandering gait of somebody who's walking, even if they're walking with purpose, and into a straight line following the streets. It's been cold and a little rainy, if I remember right, and...
Yeah, we're into early spring.
So are there any like little puddles of water around on the ground? Things like that?
Yeah, why don't you roll me a d10?
Sure.
On 8 and plus or higher, there's a puddle.
Okay.
Okay. You actually do find a puddle. It's like right in that like gutter, like a clogged up spot, and it's right by where apparently the car had taken off from.
Neil will then, I guess, look over and just sort of stare down in the puddle.
You can kind of hear people murmur like, oh, weirdo, and they like walk by.
Yeah, he's not good enough at Obfuscate to have people like walk around him or that, so he's just standing there like a weirdo in the street, smelling vaguely of, burnt cloth and staring into a puddle in the gutter. And we'll try and open up his sights to see what information the Covenant of Enki will ring. Hopefully this puddle has been there since she left.
Go for it.
3 successes.
So 3 successes does the trick, and you will actually see that Britta kind of approaches where there's a limo waiting in this spot. And when she gets to the limo, the door opens, and she visibly becomes very like nervous and suddenly careful about her body language. And then she's drawn inside, and from like the oddest angle, while kind of like leaning around, you can see the ice-cold eyes of Roman Pendragon kind of like in the dark of the limo.
Neil breathes out in a sigh. They had talked about, Pendragon being a maybe, right? Especially when it was leading away and like towards a car area. For a moment when he saw it was a limo, he was like, oh no, it's Roland's. Like Roland's has summoned her. This is it. This is the blood bond. Getting confirmation that it was Roman Pendragon is both a relief but also makes him very nervous. The direction that the trail was going and like watching as the car pulls off, do I get the impression that he's probably heading back out of the city?
Yeah, they're definitely heading to Skip Town.
So there's a few places he would probably bring her. It's been a long night already. Morning is not it's just a couple hours off at this point, right?
Right.
Which means he's not going anywhere too far. Like, he's probably not making the trip to Boston. Although, this is a limo. The windows in the back, did it look fully blacked out like this is a vampire travel car, or was this...
They were tinted.
Tinted.
Whether or not that's, like, safe for a kindred to travel in, you're not sure on.
Okay. Well, Neil mutters to himself, like, I gotta have a little faith here. Like, if he has a car for travel, then he could be anywhere. But for now, there's only a few places he could go. I wonder... And he has a thought. Pendragon is part of Operation Longbow, along with the Nosferatu and the Malkavians, the 3 pillars of Operation Longbow.
Yep.
Neil is a friend to the Nosferatu because he helped them sort of establish the Webb in the area and do that kind of stuff. And so if anybody in the area would know, without having to delve into like mystic nonsense and all that kind of stuff, sometimes doing things the old-fashioned way, as Johnny puts it, actually does yield pretty good results. So he will pull his phone out of his pocket and text his buddy Fester, "Hey, where you at?"
Your phone rings.
And Neil will pick it up. "Hey, man."
"Hey, how you doing, Neil?"
"Yeah, it's how are you?
I'm great. I got a promotion within, the crowd I'm with, and I'm making big moves."
"You making big moves? Do you need a hand?"
"I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I should tell you."
That's hey, that's, you know how you are, you know how I am, man. If it's...
Of course I'm going to tell you.
Sure. Yeah.
Basically, I got this promotion that is going to allow me to provide refreshments for the elders of the Camarilla.
Really?
That's correct. Yours truly, trusted with one of the most important responsibilities to our Camarilla elders.
Providing feeding?
Yeah.
So
refreshments at a party.
Okay, at a party.
A prince's party, a real prince. I mean, no offense to our prince, but you know what I mean.
Hey, man, you don't have to he's not on the phone. He can't hear us right now. Like, you can say what... He sucks. It's fine.
He sucks.
The prince of New Haven sucks. Okay, it's fine. We can just say it. Anyway, okay, when you say refreshments at a prince's party, do you mean like finding a herd and rounding them up, or do you mean like pulling waiter duty? Like what's the... I don't know.
Bit of both.
I haven't been to a real prince's party, so I don't...
Basically, what's going to happen is the people that have been brought there to provide sustenance for our highly valuable elders are going to be brought in, with the collar and the chain, and my job is to bring them over to the elder who would like to feed and present them with the mortal, and then they feed, and then I take the mortal back.
That's pretty neat. A lot of responsibility, though, especially if people have feeding restrictions and things like that to know about.
Wait, what?
Look at the Ventru.
Oh, no.
You got, like, some people have preferences and
this
types.
This is going to be so much more complicated than I thought.
Yeah, this is wildly complicated, man. That's... Hey,
I usually just kind of grab whatever's in arm's reach and, do the deed.
Same. Whoever's sleeping, and you just take... But, like, some people get a lot more picky than you and me.
You do the sleepy thing, huh?
I get nervous if
fucking
they're awake.
Weirdo.
I get nervous. I have anxiety. Okay, buddy, what prince is throwing a party where you gotta...
Oh, my friend. The scariest prince around. Prince Warwick. Yeah.
So you're going to Rhode Island?
I am.
Fancy you. Did you go there? Are you there yet? Or are you heading out? What's your...
No, I'm still in town gathering my stuff.
So if it's a Warwick party, I mean, probably not going to be a lot of entry there, right? Might be some though. But that doesn't... I don't know. They're not the only ones that get picky.
Yeah, it's
What
true.
is his prefer... Ooh, here's the thing though, right? I know you're
Warwick?
always...
Oh, buddy. I don't know if I should get into Warwick's habits. That's a bad idea. We're over a phone, right?
Yeah, no, I
We've
wasn't...
said his name like at least twice.
I wasn't asking about his habits.
Be
I've never
careful.
I've never
I'm just trying to keep you out of trouble, Neil.
No, you know how much
I know you're into some weird shit.
I'm not... Okay, all right. Like... Pal, is this the kind of fancy party that, like, you take a limo to?
Oh, yeah. Limo, helicopter.
And you need like a date to this party?
I mean, do you think I need a date?
No, I'm not saying, especially if you have a job to do. I'm not saying... No, I'm just... Hey, is Roman Pendragon going to that party?
Oh, yeah, definitely, for sure. Why?
When's the party, Fester? Fester, when's the party?
I don't know. Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night is the party. Fester is the party.
Neil, you're really interested in this party.
Do you know Roman Pendragon was in the city earlier tonight?
What's that?
Our city?
Holy shit! Who died?
Nobody.
Are you sure?
Britta's gone.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
Not good, Neil.
Yeah.
This was a stop it before it happened situation.
Yeah. I'm getting that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy.
I'm sorry.
She's
it's been
gone.
A little busy. Reese made sure I was a little busy the last couple of weeks.
In theory, the weird surprise embraces that are abandoned happen all the time. By the end of the summer, you could easily end up with another Britta. Don't feel too bad.
No, see, I'm very much in a place in my life right now where I'm tired of people taking things away. So, hey, what'll it cost me to get an invite to that party?
Ooh, you want to be my date?
I mean, yeah, man. We go to a party. We could help out.
Give me a second. I want to enjoy this.
Yes, my time has
Let's
come.
not rush through, Neil. Do you have anything nice to wear?
I'd have to go get something.
Oh, brother.
I'd have to. Well, somebody trashed all my things. I might be able to salvage a jacket.
All right, Neil. Here's the deal. Okay. I'm trying to make a good impression, and you brought up a very valid point that anyone is bringing a date. So you get to be my date. How's that sound? However, I want a sexy date. So you're going to need to be sexy. And I don't mean what you think is sexy. I mean like actually sexy, not like weird hocus pocus lady stuff.
Okay. All right. So, okay, Fester, what do you think is sexy?
I mean, you got to look sharp, get a nice haircut. What can you make yourself look like the Miles guy? He's fucking hot.
Yes. Erika's been dying this entire time.
Audience. You cannot see through the microphones, but I have been making now kiss gestures the entire time.
Hey, this Fester guy is really growing on me.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Sounds like he'd like to grow on you more.
Yep.
Too much. Too much.
Yeah, I can probably make myself look. I mean, Miles is a little bit more built than I am. Is that?
Well, don't make it exact. Otherwise, people are gonna think I'm a weirdo.
Okay, so
be like casually similar to Miles enough to be like sexy.
Is this black
but
tie
distinct
or is
enough
this
so that
like...
we're not like fucking weirdos?
Okay, all right, okay.
Do you ever wear eyeshadow? Some eyeliner? Some of that good guyliner shit? I love that shit.
Okay, all right. I'm starting to get a picture.
I want Miles and guyliner with like a sexy sharp black on black suit. But no, don't do black on black. You might offend Pendragon. That's like he likes doing that shit.
Is that his thing?
He's a weird gothy boy from England.
Okay, so here's my question.
Yeah.
Please answer it honestly.
Okay.
Should I be trying? How much does it matter if I piss off Pendragon?
Miles.
Buddy.
Sorry.
Where's your head at?
We're not there yet.
Lex, at a certain point, I feel like you're doing this for me. And I appreciate all of this, but...
I think I need to excuse myself from
Neil, who is not yet Miles.
I'm going to pretend we cover each other's slips all the time.
I want to impress these elders.
Yeah.
And if one of them gets like gorilla mad and rampages through the party killing you, I mean, I just don't know if that will make me seem cooler or less cool. I have no idea, and I feel like it's a big risk.
Okay, so you want me... All right. Follow-up questions. I'm trying to think like Britta right now. Okay, I'm going to say you want to make... I need to look good. You want to make impressions. How... I mean, this is an Oz party. How much do they know about me? Pre-existing.
Oh yeah, all about it. They're gonna regard you with suspicion. Just also be sexy.
No, I don't even mean just suspicion. I mean like how public is my ordeal? Are my connections? Should I lean into that? Should I lean away from it? What do you want me to do here?
I would like you to not overcomplicate this shit and get us in trouble.
Oh, you don't want me to overcomplicate it. You shouldn't be asking. Okay, I will try.
First of all,
I will try not to overcomplicate.
I didn't ask for shit. You asked.
I know.
Secondly, I'm not asking for something complicated. Just be a sexy, kind of gothy eyeliner Miles.
All right.
And then,
I
if
will
you
do
can
that.
do that, we
I will
will
do that.
succeed. We will have fun. It'll be a pleasant party. And maybe, just maybe,
Great.
you won't die.
Okay, great. Perfect.
And I don't want that shit on my conscience.
I don't know. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Anything for the mission. I got this. Okay.
All right.
I know what to
So,
do.
yeah. Go get sexed up, and we'll go on this adventure.
What time are we leaving tomorrow?
Meet me downstairs tomorrow, 10 minutes after you wake. Make it quick.
Okay, so I got...
Bring the stuff. Don't get into the outfit until we're actually there. You want to be, like, fresh, you know?
Okay, all right. Yeah, no, I can do that. That gives me a couple hours to find an overnight tailor. I will... Yeah, okay. Thank you. Fester.
But also important, even though you're not gonna get into your clothes for the party, like, while you're there, travel looking good, too. I may as well get my money's worth, right? All right. I'll see you later, Neil.
I'll try my best.
Hangs up.
Neil just stands on the corner for a minute. Well, Miles is already mad at me. And then flags a cab.
Cab comes to take you away.
So, hey, Tim, Neil has known Miles for a long time, and he's like one of those weirdo perceptive dudes. What are the chances that he knows who Miles's tailor is?
Well, you met the most public one. His name was Marcos.
Wow.
So after that, probably you wouldn't know anybody else.
Yeah, that makes sense. Neil sighs in the back of the cab and busts off a quick text to Miles, even though he did not want to have to contact Miles, with a SOS. Who's your tailor?
Your phone will ring after like 5 minutes.
Oh, hey man, very clearly in like a car somewhere. I didn't expect you to call back. Just a quick answer was fine.
No, these things are not a quick answer kind of deal.
Well, I just wanted to know where you got your suits. I'm looking for fashion advice, Miles.
I get that. The person is unable to do that anymore.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Right. So, what kind of occasion are you looking at?
Formal, super formal. Formal, but like
For yourself?
hot formal, and I need it for me. Yeah.
Hot formal? Is the temperature an issue?
No, like sexy formal.
Oh.
Like formal, but deliberately sexy.
Well, it's good to know. I have a different guy for that.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Can I? I'll pay instead. Obviously,
It's not a worry. You need to be careful, though.
Yes, I am very, very aware of. Yes, I know.
All right. Also,
Are you okay? You sound distracted. Is everything all right?
Things are happening. And I am distracted.
Okay, that's fine. I won't take up any more of your time.
But I assumed this was important because you probably wouldn't have messaged me otherwise.
That's why I said SOS.
Yeah, sure.
I know I've done that before and it wasn't as important, but this is actually, yes.
I mean, it's not the Navy, so...
Well, the problem is, like, ordinarily a suit, I would just look around or whatever, but I need...
No, stop.
I need it by tomorrow.
Right.
Like 10 minutes after sundown.
You're going to
tomorrow.
downtown New Haven. You're going to go to a loft.
Okay.
I'm going to send you the address.
Okay.
I'm going to send him a message ahead of time. Your thing will be paid for. Grant is particular. We'll put up with it.
Okay.
He works at night and he works for a lot of money, so...
Okay, I will... Thank you, Miles. I'll hit you back. I promise. I know, but...
That's fine.
Hey, buddy?
Yeah?
Good luck.
Thanks. Hopefully it'll go off without a hitch.
I have faith. You got a picture in your pocket, and I got faith with you.
Yeah, don't do anything to endanger this.
I will do nothing to endanger this.
Great. We'll talk when you get back.
Bye, Miles. Can I hang up before I say anything stupid?
Yeah, I'm like that moment.
Yeah, we have glossed over that.
I'll do nothing to endanger this. Bye, Miles.
And Neil will go to the address provided by Miles so that fussy Grant can hook him up with a sexy outfit for tomorrow.
Miles, dawn is coming, and it's time to enact your plan.
All right.
What do you do?
So first we got to make sure the conditioning is in place.
Okay, give me a roll. Remember that because Neil performed his magic here, I'm at a 7 difficulty.
Yes, I have a picture of Roland's, which is giving me a huge bonus bump.
Is that not the lowest then that the difficulty can be made? 3?
Right, it brings it down to the minimum.
Woof.
Which I think is 2, right? Mm. Yeah, anything but a 1.
Target's difficulty 2.
Current willpower.
It's a 2-hander, I see.
It's a 2-hand job.
9.
Okay.
Is he pliable?
Not quite, but you've been doing this overnight.
Yes.
So did you roll? Give me a roll for the previous night.
Okay.
And that should get us to about where things actually are.
7 successes.
Okay. He is bent to your will.
All right. Now it is possession. So I believe the rules for this is I'm spending a willpower and I am draining his very small amounts of willpower. So every dice is a success. So that is 6, 8, 10 successes.
Oh my god.
You have possessed him with 10 successes.
And I now look over at my other body, which is sort of asleep, and kind of flex around and get used to this one while I put my other body on a bed or something like that nearby that I prepared. And then grab my equipment and my jacket and deck myself out like Miles, but in this larger, beefier ghoul suit. And I go upstairs and I go outside to meet Chaps.
All right. The feral or mongrel of Fisher Cat is waiting for you.
So Wynn has definitely prefaced this with like, okay, I told him what to do. Please make sure animal control doesn't get a hold of him. They will kill him if they can.
I proceed up my stairs from my haven that I've not been in a ton. I've been havening elsewhere, but this is where I'm maintaining all of the prince's ghouls, more or less. And I clear the stairs, and I see the upstairs for the first time in daylight. And it's weird.
There comes a moment where your beast begs you to flee back downstairs, but the natural lighting of the room, it almost takes a moment for you to realize that it isn't going to destroy you. And as you approach the door, your beast kind of trembles and rattles in its cage. But when you open the door, there's that bright morning light washing over you, and you can feel its warmth for the first time in a long time.
Also, I'm like breathing and maybe sweating a little bit. It's very weird.
You feel human, you just don't quite feel like you.
Yeah. It's been a while. So I look up at the sun, like directly, and squint, and then I check to see if I've got another passenger.
You feel there is no dark passenger with you.
All right. It's weirdly quiet. No sense of presence by myself. It's very weird. I take a second, like pop the katana out of its sheath a little bit, put it back, just kind of a habit. And then I call for Chaps.
This monstrous little thing approaches you. The Fisher Cat kind of makes this like eerie sound, but it stares up at you, pretty much ready to engage in some violence.
Ready to help out, Chaps?
It makes a terrible Fisher Cat noise.
Oh, I'll take that as a yes. I mean, I'm using animalism, but yeah.
Yes, kill.
Well, you know what? Sure.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to open this door and you jump in the blazer here.
Please. Yes.
So we go over to the blazer, load him in.
He hops right in.
Yeah. Circles around a few times, putting the katana in its holder behind me. Oh, wait, it's a blazer. It doesn't have that one. Yeah, I did whatever. And then I don't know. I put my hands on the steering wheel. It's all odd.
It feels cool.
Yeah.
To the touch. And when your hands kind of like tighten on it for just a moment, you can feel the surge of potence that your ghoul has.
That's right. Not just a normal human. And let's go leave out at what, like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 5 or 6 a.m., I don't know, whenever sunrise is at sometime in March. And go towards the haven of Upton Rollins.
You arrive to a beautiful Victorian home, and it seems kind of sparse in terms of security. Most of his ghouls were sent away, and he's largely been hiding by himself.
Does he have like a gate or whatever it is? Probably separating so people can't just drive right in?
It is gated, yes.
Yeah, so I'll go up and input the codes that I should have been able to get from people and drive right up to his almost unsecured compound to me.
There's a buzz sound. Gates open. The blazer pulls right in. Everything continues going according to plan.
I get out. I open the door for the Fisher Cat and grab a bag that was prepared the night before, which...
The Fisher Cat hops out ready for violence.
Remember, chaps, no attacking unless I say so.
Then say so.
I'll let you know.
Good.
And I pull out a bag with a couple stakes, a hammer, submachine gun, and my katana, and I strap on some body armor just in case. I'm going inside. Probably some sort of side door or whatever.
You enter in the key code, open the door, you head inside, and wearing like pajama pants is this young man with frosted tips, the like little V shape up at his hips, and he turns. In his hands, there's this like plate of like eggs and breakfast sausage. Hello?
I look him directly in the eyes and go, still.
Roll. The difficulty of this roll is 2.
That would be 8 successes.
Okay. He freezes in place, staring at you wide-eyed and afraid, dropping his plate of eggs.
I go over and I start the process of mesmerizing him. Listen to my voice. Fall deeply into this samba sleep thing, and as I go through the road practice, I will attempt to mesmerize him.
What are you telling him to do?
I want him to, until night falls, I would like him to stay in this kitchen and not move.
Okay.
Is this a ghoul in the...
It is not a ghoul.
Okay.
6 successes.
You crush his will, and he remains still, giving the impression that he is going to continue doing so.
And I pick up the bag, give him a light tap on the shoulder, and I start moving towards where I know Roland's havens, or sleeps.
You head on upstairs, and there is this big room, double doors. The doors are locked. It looks like they are locked with something that would use like a skeleton key or something like that.
Do I know what is usually contained around here, or?
Yes, you do.
All right. I will procure that and bust my way through by opening the lock gently.
You hear the click, and the doors open, and you enter, and the entire room is protected from sunlight. Huge, thick, drawn curtains kind of block everything. And in the room, on this massive bed, made very comfortable, is Upton Rollins, who seems like he is just fast asleep under the blankets.
I take a breath. Breathe it out and move towards the body. Turning on the light switch so I can see in here.
With a click, you flip on the light switch, and I roll for something. There's almost the faintest stir that comes from Upton when the light switch turns on, but he does not wake.
As he was twitching, I slowly lowered the bag down and put my hand on the katana and waited.
Minutes pass in total silence, and he becomes certain he has not awakened.
I then pull out from the bag a hammer and 2 stakes, grabbing one, tucking it behind my belt, the other one in hand, and I go next to the bed where Rollins is at.
You go next to the bed. The point of the stake presses to his chest.
Take my time, line it up, get the hammer ready, and stake his dead ass.
With the hammer raised, Upton's eyes flash open as he's attacked. The wolves! Britta, you wake from your cold day slumber, anxious, with your beast begging you do something, and you feel this guillotine coming down around the neck of Upton as the blood bond pulls you, and your body reacts before you can really even think to process what's happening, and you let out a scream. As the sound of a lock in the door bursts open, and entering are 4 men who sweep the room with assault rifles, black uniforms, and body armor. And there's this pause when they see you awake during the day, letting out the scream. And with this sudden wisp of air kind of like flowing through the room abruptly like a gust of wind, Roman Pendragon is there, dressed in kind of like a loose white, honestly kind of like a blouse, and like these pants that kind of come down just like past his knee. Like he looks like he's dressed for like centuries ago. And he sort of gives this judgmental pause looking over you in the bed.
Britta is not concentrated on that. Her attention is on the strange men with the guns.
Stand down. Leave us. They immediately comply, exiting the room to return to their guard shift. The door is shut, and it's the two of you.
As she turns from the men with the guns and registers the look on Roman Pendragon's face and the fact that her chest is still rising and falling after she took in air after that scream, and she can still feel the way that nightmare or premonition or whatever it was made her feel. She looks at Roman Pendragon and she says, some kind of nightmare? I don't have those. Something's happening.
His eyes narrow slightly. You sense death.
It felt like that.
Death under those circumstances, with you bound so tightly. It is a sign of coming freedom.
Freedom?
Child, I have felt as you feel. The loss of one you are so deeply bound to. And at first, it was frightening.
You think that's something he's gonna die?
It is likely he is already dead, whoever he is.
I can't let that happen. I can't. I have to. I have to go to New Haven. I'm sorry.
He turns behind him and just locks the door.
Wait. And I run to try the door. Jostling it, I am sure that's not going to unlock it.
With like the slightest touch, you are tossed back onto the bed.
Oh, the door is very locked.
Because like there's just, you think it might have been potence, but not, you've never seen it used like that. Or literally just the slightest contact against you sent a kinetic wave through your entire body and just tossed you back.
Britta is entirely stunned by that, and the tears are already welling up at this point.
I felt this when my sire died, when I was freed of her. You are lucky it's come so soon.
Thinking of being free, there was a part of me that I know wants that, but I don't. Every time I think like that, it feels like I'm betraying myself, and
That is the weakness of your humanity.
I need to go help him.
Lay down, close your eyes, and wait for night. Do not cross me.
The tears run hot and fast, her face going red quickly.
He kind of sits down at the edge of the bed and waits for day to take you.
There's a glance at the window, the curtains, and the way that he sat down. And Britta realizes that there's no way that she's getting out. She wipes the forearm of her glove to try to get some of the blood off her face, but that's a lost cause at this point, and slowly forces herself to walk towards the bed and towards Roman Pendragon.
Again, once on the bed, and once things have quieted down enough, you feel day and fall asleep. Make your roll.
Oh boy. Four successes?
3 successes will carry over into bonus dice. Because you're using the hammer, you may enjoy an additional 2 dice of damage.
Are ghouls allowed to spend blood for potence?
If they have potence, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many levels of potences do you have?
I'm about to ask. How many levels of potence do I get?
Ghoul has 3 levels of potence and 2 levels of fortitude.
I really hope that second part doesn't come into effect. I'm going to spend for automatic successes on the potence. 8 successes.
Okay. 5 successes carry through. He is staked. Oh. Not a small dice pool either.
It's a fucking elder andrew.
So after the first one, then I immediately grab the other stake, and I'm just like watching.
He just stares up at you, unblinking, frozen in terror at the realization that you were the wolf all along.
Well, gonna take one of those pillows and put it over his face so I don't have to look at that, because I'm not particularly feeling like more guilty right now.
Okay, you cover his face with a pillow.
Yeah.
It's just the two of you alone.
Chaps.
Yeah, the little thing comes in.
Is there anybody else in this house besides that one guy?
So when you communicate with it using animalism, it says, no.
It's the only one?
Yes.
All right. I will get you a real...
Kill.
Not yet. Killing will happen later. We gotta go through this. I'm gonna leave you here. You're to make sure no one else comes through this door. Anyone else that comes through the door that
Kill.
Not Wynn or the coterie, you kill. All right?
Watch.
And then I leave him like some food too.
He seems pretty cool with that. He takes bribes.
Takes the shit out of Brian. He is not a fisher cat of scruples.
Then I give a look at the covered Rollins.
And then your phone rings.
I take the phone out of the bag.
You recognize your house number.
Hello?
Miles Davenport here.
Well, this is a weird circumstance.
Well, I put up a vote. But unfortunately, the greater half wasn't present.
How can I help you, Z?
You can help me a great deal. What I want is simple. You release me from all agreements, and in exchange, I leave your body and never harm your coterie.
How long have you been using my body?
I tend to put up votes during the day. Make sure you're fed, comfortable.
You've been waiting for this.
We've both been waiting, and it seems we may yet both win.
I'm coming back. Will I see you there?
I'll already be gone, if you agree. If you don't,
I don't know where
you
you're
can
going to...
sweep me off your front steps.
How do I know you're not just going to kill yourself anyways? Or kill me?
What do you have to lose?
Any hope that I can keep this domain under that umbrella of not being harmed?
You may choose one more person, and that is the kindness I will give you. You've been a good host.
Elsa Linden.
Then we have an accord. Miles Davenport.
Sofield, I had hopes that you were not a being of all evil. I'm still not sure.
Then until next time.
Catch you later, Z. I agree to this contract.
The phone hangs up. The Fisher cat looks real spooked.
Chaps, your job is still the same.
Kill.
Everything is... Kill anything that comes...
Watch.
Yes, watch. There we go.
Go with what you know, man.
And I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to grab that young man, and I'm going to just throw him over my beefy shoulders.
Easily accomplished.
And put him in the back seat of the car.
He begins to struggle to get away from you, so he can go back to waiting in the room that he was
I gotta
dominated to wait in.
Turn that off. I will command him to still.
You crush the wall. He stills.
Yeah. And I will put him in a new mesmerize, override, or get rid of the other command, and just tell him that he's going to just sleep and rest for the next 16 hours or so, and leave him in the back seat, and then I will drive back to my house.
You drive back to your haven, and when you get there, the front door is ajar, and there are no ashes on your front steps.
I grab my bag and the now placid gentleman and head inside.
When you get inside, You find yourself moving for where you had left your body. And when you get there, you find yourself sitting in a seat, slumped to the side, unconscious. And on the small table that sits before your chair are 2 glasses, a bottle of whiskey. One glass is full, and the other recently emptied.
I put the Placid Maid in one of the spare rooms and close it, and then I go back, take the whiskey, look at it, down it.
Okay, can I just narrate that both Garrett and Erika in unison put their hands over their face? You can narrate such!
In the ghoul suit, It tastes amazing. And you don't throw up. You're not poisoned. It just tastes like victory.
I clink it with the empty glass and lie down in this suit and transfer myself back to my body.
Once you make it back to your body, the day takes you. Britta, the following night comes, and Roman, despite his presence in your bed when you fell asleep during the day, is not here. Instead, his ghoul, your caretaker, is waiting for you by the mirror, having seemingly watched you wake with a great deal of high-end makeup prepared. And as you kind of come to rising from your dreamless sleep, she gives this cough to alarm you of her presence. I am instructed to ensure that you look perfect.
Britta, as she's coming to consciousness, is immediately looking around the room. She's not entirely certain if she's going to be waking up with someone in the room or not. And her eyes land on Maria, the makeup, everything laid out. She's really not all that comfortable waking up and seeing someone, but she seems a bit. She latches on to the fact that it's Maria. And she gets up and walks over to the mirror, to the makeup. Thank you for the help.
Of course. Whatever he wants. She teases her hair a moment and kind of tosses to the side and presents to you her neck.
There's a hesitation from Britta, but she does lean over, and as gently as she can, she'll take 1 trait of blood.
She fixes her hair, stands straight.
Britta makes sure to lick the wound. Thanks again.
Are you ready to begin?
Yes. And with that, Britta goes and lays out the various accessories that she had remembered. It's clear that she had, in the background of all the chaos of this interaction, sort of come up with a game plan for what she would be choosing. And by the mirror, she sets a couple objects. She picks out some jewelry. She seems to be going for delicacy rather than ornate appeal. Internally, she's picked what she's picked because wearing gold reminds her, it just makes her feel a little less far from Wynn than the silver options. She gathers what she needs, it's all really there. The maid is so prepared, but she makes sure that there is a pair of opera-length velvet gloves that she found in the accessories. And on the ground, she'll set what look to be a pair of satin, black, red-bottomed stilettos. Looking at the makeup, Britta has the instinct to start doing it herself, but she's not certain if the maid has been instructed to do it for her.
Maria physically interjects. Simply focus your eyes on the mirror, and I will take care of the rest.
Got it. Thank you.
And we shift to the New Haven underground, where there is the steady drip of water from the surface, but is otherwise clean. The passageways through are a bit low in terms of ceiling and tight in terms of space, but eventually Neil, knowing his way around, finds an open chamber that is well hidden away, belonging to his dear friend. Before Neil can even knock, there's a soft buzz that comes from the other side. A locking mechanism is undone, and Fester opens the door.
Hey, buddy. True to his word, Neil is carrying in his arms a closed and sealed suit bag from Grant from the night before, all ready to go, and he is wearing, freshly cleaned and pressed, the suit that Miles got for him in Boston, with no tie or anything, and a few buttons of the white shirt undone down to like just a few of the top buttons undone. He has eyeliner on, looks like he actually the sorcerer has a reasonably steady hand at that kind of thing. And his hair, his dark hair, is like, I don't know, oiled or greased or something, and is just slicked back in a reasonable approximation of Miles's hair. Close enough as far as Neil is concerned.
Well, all right, looking good. I've got a few modifications in mind. You're off to a good start on the eyes. I'm kind of impressed.
Yeah, you spend enough time looking at people and you get a couple of tips, but honestly, if you can fix it yourself, I'm afraid I fucked it up.
I'll use what Sorita secrets I found.
Great, yeah, that would...
Coming in, have a seat.
Yeah, thanks, man. I would... You said the formal thing is in here. This is not the formal thing. Neil over-explains like he...
I know, but we need to fix your hair. You like the X-Men, right?
I mean, yeah.
Have you ever seen Rogue?
Yeah, I know Rogue.
All right, well, we're going to give you the streak, friend.
What? Isn't that kind of like artificial to do the... Why are we doing the...
Excuse me?
Hey, you're the boss.
I'm very excited to do this, Neil. Thank you for working with me.
Yeah, of course. Whatever you need.
All right.
Whatever you want.
Slaps his hands together, and even though they look like, relatively normal hands, you can't help but notice this wet sound when he does it. And then, overly giddy, he pulls you in front of a mirror and sets about beginning your makeup. Miles, night comes. You wake, and you are alone in your body.
That's still weird. I reach over and speed dial Johnny's beeper.
After a few minutes of waiting, the phone in your parlor room rings.
I'm fully dressed at this point. I pick it up. Where I go, there was a complication.
Complication?
I'll tell you on the way.
All right.
I'll pick you up.
I'm already loaded up. You want me to meet you somewhere?
I'm at my former house.
All right. I have a vehicle I think that you'll think is acceptable. I'll be there. Give me 10 minutes.
All right. Kind of just look at the door that was open. Is there like normal movement going around here? Is the regular ghouls still kind of...
It's just a normal night.
Yeah, okay. So everybody else is still acting normal-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that ghoul I took out during the day is probably trying to regain from the fatigue of having his willpower wiped out.
Yeah, he's having a rough go.
I check in on Placid Man, and then I'll be outside waiting for Johnny.
Johnny arrives almost exactly 10 minutes later, driving a large black Suburban. When you load up into the passenger side, you look over and he looks like shit. He's got bags under his eyes that are still crusted with a little bit of blood. His hair kind of hangs loose. He looks like he probably hasn't changed clothes from yesterday.
Let's go.
And of course, he's sucking on one of his Morleys. You got it.
We don't have a lot of time.
I don't know where the Haven is.
It is...
Give me directions along the way.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you where it is, and you'll know that area.
And Johnny drives them to the Haven.
So, the demon is no longer a problem.
Johnny pauses while he kind of licks his teeth. What do you mean it's no longer a problem?
So,
it hasn't been a month.
No. The demon ransomed my body back to me after I left it.
Johnny slowly comes to a stop as the light ahead of him goes red. And he kind of grips the steering wheel a little bit, dips his head, and nods a little bit. That sounds like really bad news.
A mild upswing to that. He is part of that bargain, as he's not coming after any of us.
You think you can trust it?
To keep bargains? More or less.
The light goes green, and Johnny starts driving again. All right. So we lost the demon. Do we have any idea where it went?
No.
You gonna tell the rest of the coterie?
After tonight. And, when I see them again. So basically, like, Wynn.
All right.
So that was unexpected, but everything else went off pretty flawlessly.
You said there was a complication, and I thought we were about to head to his haven to actually confront him.
I mean, that's still a possibility.
Without a stake in him.
Well, last time I left him with chaps was the stake in him.
The demon's gone.
The demon is gone.
We can't get ahead, can we?
I mean, I never utilized its power, so maybe it didn't leave a stain.
I'm not worried about leaving stains. I'm worried about what a demon being free is going to do.
Yup. But based on everything else, it was going to be free if we didn't take it in, so we basically just delayed it. Its original deal with Neil would have left it free, too.
I'm pretty sure that this news is not going to go as easily with Wynn and Neil as it did with me.
I'll deal with it then. Let's get this done.
All right.
Black Suburban.
Wait, you got a problem with this too?
It's just a black SUV.
Johnny just shakes his head.
It's a little bit of nervous energy is basically what you're getting off of Miles, is they're like hoping there's nothing else going wrong as we get back.
Chaps didn't eat the steak.
If it makes you feel any better, if you take a really close look at the paint on this, it's got a metallic fleck.
Like
A what?
A single metallic fleck?
No. All right, funny guy.
The two of you arrive to Upton's clandestine haven.
A fresh Morley comes out of his pack. Johnny pauses, looks over at Miles, offers him one.
Maybe after. Here's the code.
Johnny hops out and enters the code so the gate can open, and you guys are free to head in. After extensive work preparing your makeup, your hair, and fitting you into the dress that you'll be wearing for the evening, Britta is brought out to a limousine where Roman Pendragon and a pair of men dressed in kind of very sharp-looking uniforms wait for you. Roman is dressed in what appears to be very clever nods to a more Victorian goth look, and he is dressed in all black. His coat is long. The collar that he has accentuates his already very sharp, angular features. You think there might be a hint of eyeliner and makeup meant to draw attention to his already high, perfect cheekbones. And there he is, waiting for you and watching you with these eerie, piercing blue eyes as you draw near. One of these clearly, well-trained Bruja opens the door for you.
This is the first time that Britta is moving in a dress like this. She had the walk out to get used to the weight of it, the way that you have to navigate the skirt. But she had taken that time to center herself and to learn to move in it. And exiting the mansion, she is taking that motion, that sort of centering, as a way to center herself rather than just her movement. And so when she approaches this Bruja that Roman Pendragon keeps like one would keep a ghoul, she thanks him and accepts his help into the limousine, but her eyes don't really leave Roman Pendragon. She keeps her attention to him.
You're led into the limousine, and there, sitting already in that middle seat across from you, is a young woman, and she has this very pensive expression about her, kind of like the look that an animal gives to the butcher. And getting in from the other side and joining you is Pendragon. You get this feeling like he's looking you over, but he doesn't actually turn to address you. And all he says is, "You look lovely."
Thank you.
And then the car starts, and the limousine pulls out, and you go for a drive, eventually coming to the coast, where you can kind of see the moon kind of hanging low over the water.
Britta's eyes linger on the water once it comes into her view. Something about seeing the shore like that makes her nervous. Maybe it's the memories, but it doesn't help that there's this scared girl between the two of them. Britta reflexively ends up half shooting the girl a little bit of a smile before squashing it, realizing that would not help. This looks like a living girl, right?
It does. She smells quite nice.
And she's being ignored, generally?
She has not been addressed in any way by Pendragon, who actually looks at you and then casts his gaze out to the crescent moon that hangs over the waves. Auspicious, isn't it?
At that, Britta subconsciously ends up pulling her gloved hand just a little bit beneath her skirt. Her eyes follow his gaze and fall back to him. It's a nice night out.
Where you are headed is dangerous. A false step, any indication of weakness, and political rivals that you don't even know you have will descend upon you. Recognize that you are entering into a court of actual monsters. This isn't games with Upton Rollins anymore. And with this very slight gesture with his hand, he motions to the girl who is sitting with you, and she climbs out towards your side of the limousine, so that her elbows and hands are kind of rested against the cushion, and she exposes her neck. And he looks at you. Now drink. You will need to be at your best.
Britta looks down, and as gently as she can, she takes the girl's hair, moves it away from her neck, sort of keeps her hand on the girl's shoulder just to steady her. She leans in, and she does take one trait of blood, licks the wound, and kind of brushes her thumb over the girl's shoulder, sits her back down.
There's this irritated look that crosses Roman, and he, very rough with the mortal girl, pulls her by her hair so that she kind of lets out this wince, and he sinks his fangs into her neck. And then you notice a hand reaching for you, and he pulls you back to her to continue feeding until she's done, he says, with blood spraying from his lips.
There's no need for that. I don't think I could even take in more than what I just took. Just maybe that again, but I wouldn't need more. And Britta actually sort of echoed the same noise of startlement that she made as she's pulled into.
He draws Vitae from this mortal with such kind of force that her body kind of twists some, and her eyes roll to the back of her head. And even though she's trapped in the kiss, you can see this crushing force being applied to her. And in response to your refusal to feed, he takes her life.
Britta closes her eyes, likely still unable to escape having pulled close to it. So close to the fact that this girl is dying in front of her, and she squeezes her eyes shut tightly as possible. She knows that there's the morbid thought that she can't ruin her makeup right now, but there's so much the urge to cry. Forces her eyes back open as soon as she's sure that she can control the fact that her eyeliner might be ruined. Swallows down what she'd like to say in the moment.
Dismissively, he shoves the corpse back to the seat she was in, and with a bit of silk that he carries with him, he cleans off his lips and waits for the two of you to arrive. Neil, you're still in the dark chamber that your buddy is working on you in. And when he seems like he's done with these chemical smells that permeate from you, he spins you in your seat so that you are facing a mirror. And there you see a great deal of generously applied guy liner. Your hair is swept back, and there is this white streak on the left side that kind of reaches all the way back behind your ear. And actually you look pretty good.
It's hey, not bad, man. Walk me through the roguelock. What's the?
You're gonna have to explain exactly what you mean by that. It looks sexy.
It looks cool. It's just, yeah, all right.
Okay, so sure. There it is. Yeah, the whole plan is laid out before you.
Sure, great. All right.
Make Neil look hot.
Yeah, no.
Mission accomplished. You're welcome.
Yeah, no, it's good. It looks good. Thank you. Should we get dressed now or on the way? I brought the suit. I went to Miles's tailor, so Ooh. It should be very up to
Clearly
spec.
does good stuff. I thought he died though.
No, he has a sexy suit tailor.
Yeah, no, but he like fucking died though.
No, that's his regular suit tailor. You're talking about Marcos.
He has more than one suit. Of course he does. All right, okay.
Yeah, he's got their different
What a
tailors for
guy.
different occasions, I guess. So anyway, that's that. Oh,
Wait, Tim's finger guns need to be narrated.
Do they? They can just be implied.
Wow.
Everyone knew.
Yep.
I also, since this is kind of for you, I got, I don't know if this goes with what you're wearing or not, but it felt appropriate. And Neil like reaches into like the bottom of the suit bag and pulls out a little plastic box that has like a little white boutonniere that he got for his friend.
Oh, he like rests his hand over his heart. Neil.
Why?
Yes, I would be honored to.
All right. Well, we're going to here. This is. I don't know. I didn't know what you were wearing, so I got white because it kind of goes with everything. And inside the suit box, you can see just a very well tailored like black tuxedo, all like fine lines and sharp angles, with a black shirt underneath it, and what looks like a red tie and black vest. Not fully black on black, but most of the way there.
Neil.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, what's up?
I think you're going to look really good.
Oh, here's hoping, right?
Let's do this.
Part of the, let's
get it.
Yeah, all right, let's do it. And Neil just starts to like fix his tux and get dressed in an approximation of a Miles outfit. He's sort of like adjusts his tie in the mirror, and the whole time is just sort of under his breath, although obviously Fester is probably listening to him, just like, okay, you can do this. Be Miles, be Britta, be Johnny, be Wynn. Be Miles, be Britta, be Johnny, be Wynn. Be Miles, be Britta, be Johnny, be Wynn. You can do this. Be John. And like as he's doing it, as he's getting dressed, he like Neil is always hunched over. He always looks nervous. He always looks unconfident. But as he's going through this mantra, it's like he's trying to straighten his own back. Like he's trying to fix his posture and put on this faux aura of confidence just to be Miles and be like all Britta and Johnny and Wynn and like all the aspects of everybody else in the coterie that is like do things and confidence and I can, yes. And he's trying his best to do a passable impression of a confident and attractive man. And then looks at Fester when, one more thing. And he kind of wrinkles his nose a little bit. The chemical smell. I don't know what your preference is, but
I've got something for that if you need it.
Well, I had a couple
trick.
I had a couple of, what's yours? I got a couple of things.
I have some cologne.
I got 3 different colognes. I didn't know which one you wanted. I got a few. So I don't, but if you got one that you want.
Yeah, why don't we go in smelling the same? It'll be fun.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't see why not.
Here you go. You can takes out this bottle and on it is a label that says Wolf Panther.
You want to do that? Let's do it.
He sprays you. 2 on the neck, 1 on the crotch.
I thought you were supposed to do a cloud and walk through it. All right.
That's a myth also.
And then he sprays a cloud, walks through it.
Man, I'm learning a lot today. Neil, who had, but before he pulled out the Wolf Panther, puts these 3 little vials back into his nylon fanny pack, which is
in case you get nervous, okay?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I'm not going to wear the fanny pack. I'm just going to leave it in the car.
What if that makes them not know you're Neil? I'm kidding. Yeah, leave that, please.
Okay. I just
here if you can.
Well, no, it's got. That's where else am I going to put my stuff? This thing has the pockets in this are so small. The suit is very tight on Neil. It is very tailored to be one of those very slim suits.
The audience should know the 2 women at the table just shared a look when he complained about the size of the pockets.
I know what I'm doing.
There's only 12 of them.
Neil wears a fanny pack at all times. This is not enough storage space.
All the time?
Almost all the time, dude.
I have not been disparaging you enough.
I think the idea of a nice slim-fitting suit is the one anachronism that we can all just agree to.
Yes.
Because actually, in 1999, if we were going by what the actual fashion was, it'd be you'd be swimming in the suit.
This is a full zoot suit. Yeah, but no, fuck that.
Okay, so Fester is actually wearing a zoot suit.
Of course he is. It's 99.
Well,
He's
not
also
because
a
it's
Nosferatu.
99.
But it's a classic.
So you got the wolf panther on,
Yeah.
and I think we're now ready to go.
All right.
Let me just grab my stuff. He goes and he collects an AK-47 and a small case of ammo.
What kind
And he's like, all right, let's go.
of party is this that you need to bring a gun?
Well, I got to help with security, too.
Oh,
It's a Nosferatu shindig, my man.
So you're just gonna be carrying it the whole time?
No.
Oh, it's just gonna be there.
Yeah, I don't know how to fire this thing.
Fair enough. I don't either.
To quote the great warrior poet Ice Cube, if a party does not require my AK, it was good.
Sure. Okay. Is it good? So there's gonna be like a. So there's gonna be like a gun locker or something there. Can I keep my stuff with your stuff, or should I just leave in the?
So let's go. We're leaving.
All right.
Here's the rule, Neil.
Yeah.
I've only got one rule for you.
Yeah.
You can't worry about a damn thing. Get out of your system, because I'm serious.
All right.
I brought you along because we're going to have fun. And if that's hard for you, I'm going to be real pissed off. Have a good time.
Fun is hard for me.
We're going to dance. We're going to laugh.
We got a car
We're going to be
ride.
complete fucking douchebags. We're going to fit right in.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right.
All right. Chin up. You look hot. Let's go.
Great. And Neil, thoughts not on having a good time at the party, follows Fester out.
You two make it top level. We're in the alley. There is a UPS truck waiting for the two of you. And he hops in. I'm like, get on in.
Neil pulls himself up into the UPS truck. Yeah, all right.
All right. Slides the keys in, starts it up, and the two of you are on your way.
We go back in through the same door.
Johnny withdraws his axe and is slowly kind of like moving into this place, just being careful about surprises.
We take a direct route to the Roland's sleeping spot.
You arrive to the room. You can hear the sounds of an angry fisher cat on the other side, warning anyone who might enter.
Chaps and animalism. It's me.
And there's some scratching at the door.
I unlock it.
You see Johnny give you a quizzical look as you kind of make some horrible noises through the door.
Had Wynn teach me a few words.
I see.
Classic Wynn.
And I open the door and let out Chaps.
Chaps comes out, waiting with his arms splayed out, is Upton Rollins with a stake through his heart and a pillow over his face.
I take out another Rap's gigantic steak, give it to Chaps. Good job, kid.
It makes this horrible, satisfied noise and starts to eat.
What a beautiful symphony for the background.
Johnny walks into the room and kind of just paces around the perimeter of it, touching things, kind of like looking through various things on his shelf.
The main thing you notice is a set of 3 Rolodexes.
Some fancy stuff he's got in this room.
He's a little bit garish, but not bad.
Rolodex or Rolex?
Rolodex.
A Rolodex?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like phone numbers?
Oh, yes. Like businesses and...
Contacts.
Johnny kind of pauses at the his contacts list and just does a quick flip through, just so he can kind of get an idea of the things that are there.
It's like each one has upwards of like 100 places that are in southern Connecticut.
We might need those.
Oh, you're certainly going to need these. And you're probably going to need the ghouls that'll be able to help you flip through all this, make sense of it.
Yeah, we're going to have to return back there after this is done.
The other thing you find is a safe.
You want the room to yourself?
Yeah, stay by the door. It'll be easier. I give you a nod, grab a chair and put it next to Roland's bed.
I'll be waiting outside for you. Johnny walks out, kind of like taps the axe on the safe as he walks by it, just kind of looking at it like, that's going to be interesting. Steps outside of the bedchamber and closes the door.
Miles, it's just you and him. He doesn't move, but you know he's awake.
I remove the pillow from his face.
He's still staring right up at you, terrified.
Rollins, it didn't have to come to this. I never had to go this way. And in some ways, I'm kind of sorry it did. But you failed me. You were supposed to look out for me and my interests in coteries as the elder Ventru. And all you did was take from me, take from my coterie, put us in danger, force us to live these lives that we've been living for the last couple weeks because you're too fucking selfish to get your shit straight. Miles leans back in the chair, frustrated, and then leans forward, takes his glasses off, puts them on his chest. So here we are. You know, Arabella tried this, and she picked terrible allies and a terrible time. And I didn't really think it was right at the time. But your weakness is an infection at this point. It is a huge, gaping problem for New Haven. And you've let Reese run this city for too long, and all Reese cares about is himself. And all you cared about was yourself. So now it's time for a difference. To take care of the kindred here. To prepare for the coming Sabbat. Just know that, from what I've heard, at least you won't suffer in some sort of hell. It'll just be oblivion. And with that, I stand up and I start to feed off Roland to the point that I will take in his soul.
I need a roll for diablerie.
I'm going to pump up my strength with the blood that I am currently taking from Roland's. How much blood does he have?
18.
18.
He's a big boy.
What? My max is what, 10 on strength?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to pump myself to 10 strength.
Yes, you are.
Is it just a straight strength roll?
Yeah.
3 successes.
Okay. He had 5 levels of damage on him. You have diablerized him. So, a few things happen immediately. 1, I need a humanity test. 2, lose a point of humanity. Lose 1, roll to not lose another.
I'm going to assume
Or
this
2
is
more.
a conscious roll.
It is difficulty 8.
Pass.
Ooh, you don't know if you should have done that. But the last thing that happens is, without being able to resist, you immediately enter a frenzy. Johnny can hear you smashing things around the room as this vampiric essence is drawn into you. Gain 1 generation. Your blood pool will permanently expand to 20. The maximums you may have in traits is now 6.
Path of Night is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the classic world of darkness. Britta Ashcroft the Toreador was played by Rebecca Steigelfest. Johnny Saxon the Bruja was played by Garrett Gabbey. Miles Davenport the Ventru was played by Tim Davis. Neil Foster the Malkavian was played by Rob Muirhead. Wynn Cabot the Gangrel was played by Erika Webb. Your storyteller was Lex Lopez. Recording by Rebecca Steigelfest. This episode was edited by Rob Muirhead. The music used in this episode was January Grunge Love Fest by Technoaxe. Visit them online at technoaxe.com. Path of Night uses the 20th anniversary edition rule set of Vampire the Masquerade with a few limited house rules. Vampire the Masquerade is owned by Paradox Interactive. Make sure to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at Path of Night Pod, on Facebook at facebook.com/Path of Night Podcast, or email us at pathofnightpodcast@gmail.com. See you next time, Kindred.
If you would like to support the Path of Night podcast and the crew in our projects, we currently accept contributions to coffee.com/Path of Night. And thank you for listening. Might of Heroes is fucking crazy.
Any inanimate object you touch, you destroy?
Destruction is, yeah.
So I can, like, snap my fingers and suddenly a bra's going?
Yes.
Nice.
Sick.
Johnny, I'm gonna need you to teach me some stuff.
Johnny's been spending
Bra
too
strap
much time
is
with that
done.
fucking Toreador auntie.
My God, there's so many NPCs that are like, ooh, Johnny.
Yeah, but
wanna see a
so there's a
trick?
certain type of NPC that is attracted to each of the individual
Yes. Yep.
coterie, and Giggly Floozy is the one that's attracted to Johnny.
Anyone who's like, ooh, biceps, is like, who's this Johnny fellow?
Anybody who flirts while chewing bubblegum.
Really, any gum. Nicotine gum.
Wynn attracts creeps.
Yep. They want to be disciplined. That's all I can figure is they need to be punished, and I'm just the lady to do it.
And the discipline for them is Protean.
Miles, it's a girl he can smirk with.
Yes.
Yes.
Miles attracts boss lady business bitches.
Yes. Yep.
If there's shoulder pads and a pencil skirt, they're in.
Yep. Britta attracts monsters.
I'm pretty sure I have pretty wide appeal. Thank you very much.
And Neil attracts murderous women.
I believe the term you actually used was Dommy Mommies.
That's a good
I
term.
don't believe that I used that term.
That was specifically the term you used. It wasn't even that long ago.
I don't think I used that term. But mommy? Sorry, mommy? Sorry. That's
Look,
Neil's
the
type.
term-
That's not the type that is attracted to Neil.
Who said the
That's
term
different.
is irrelevant? The term is correct.
Neil wants the big woman.
Yes.
Okay.
Ready to rock and roll?
Oh man,
Now that we've
I am Brienne of
established
Tarth,
those are the
aren't
types.
I?
what we needed to establish.
So, well, to be fair, we established what the type that goes for Johnny is. We didn't establish what Johnny's
We haven't
type
established
is.
what the types for all of the characters are. We've established the type that goes for the characters. And in some circumstances,
Miles-
that is the same type.
Miles is sexually attracted to supervillains.
Yes.
Yeah.
Britta is also sexually attracted to supervillains.
Yes.
You recall Lucida's corset?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember.
Or the Sabat showing up?
The times where Britta was like, were Lucida, Delgado, and Carmen,
And
actually.
Carmen. There was bisexual confusion. I do recall that.
Technically, she's into Bruja and La Sombra.
Yeah.
Yes.
A Toreador. Romeo.
And
Yeah.
Romeo.
Because powers
I
aside,
don't know,
Johnny,
you guys pretty quick.
Johnny is just into my wife.
I think that was actually what we had all said. Too.
Yes. Johnny's type is his wife.
Yeah.
Wynn's type, Wynn attracts creeps. Wynn's type apparently is also creeps.
Wynn's type. I don't think. That's the thing.
The only person you've shown, like
Wynn likes
hello.
men who don't run when she scratches.
Yes.
That's
that.
fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, she likes men who are bold enough to approach, and weirdly enough, that's creeps.
Since you can take it.
Also, seemingly have the fun types.
Yep.
Because Kabir is here for a good time.
I met my wife in the late 70s at a disco. We were both there and we fucking hated it.
I was like, we're both there to firebomb
Wait,
it.
no. What is that from?
Nothing. I just
No, I know what you're talking about because that is
It feels like
it's
something.
Drax. It's like that's some Drax energy of like
Yes, it was Drax. That is a very similar to Drax the Destroyer explaining
okay.
him
Yeah.
falling in love with his wife.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
she did not
dancing.
dance.
She did not dance. The most powerful rhythm in the world could be playing, and she wouldn't bat an eye. She made my genitals engorge.
That is Johnny talking about his wife.
I was standing across the room with my friends. They had dragged me out there for some ungodly reason. I was drinking a Miller High Life. She saw me from across the dance floor.
3 or 4.
I remember she was wearing a denim jacket and a Black Sabbath t-shirt. She pointed at me, walked across the room, and started making out. I was hers from that point forward.
That is such a good story.
I met her when she was on her way out to a party. Her dad was like, "Are you gonna wear that?" So I rode through with my motorcycle smashing through the wall, and I was like, "Get on."
Guys, we have too much good shit for the post credits.
That's it. Just one post-credits episode.
Yep.
We just run
between seasons, I clip a shit ton that I don't use, and I want to edit them all together.
No, I want you to post the episode as normal, and then we do the opening, the thing, and then it's just nothing
Path
but
of Night posted a
post-roll.
3-hour episode.
And then we go to the credits, and then we do normal stuff.
We do a scene.
So, Lex, are you okay with me having a combi where I can drive a motorcycle out of the ground?
I think you can. So
I feel like that's a protean combo.
it is.
Earth meld and potence?
Yeah, earth meld potence.
I think that's just you.
But you also
there's
need the drive
There's
advantage.
a combo where you can take someone when you earth meld, and you earth meld together, either with a person or an object.
I'm gonna get
And
that.
it's usually meant like as a romantic gesture. And I feel like Johnny
Doing that with a
doing
motorcycle.
that with a motorcycle stays a romantic gesture so long as he's on his way to his wife.
I like it. Get on, babe.
Big fucking Johnny Lawrence energy.
Yes. Johnny needs a Quaisian arc that ends with him putting on a headband.
I'm here for Forest Swordmaster. We can do this shit.
Oh my god.
Burakai never dies.
Johnny, did you learn Kung Fu? No. It's karate. Just regular old karate.
Don't be a pussy.
And I'm just gonna throw out there, Wynn would be the perfect logo. Eagle Fang. Owl Fang Cobra.
If you haven't seen the new season of
I watched the first episode. I gotta watch the rest.
recommend.
I gotta watch the rest
love
of it.